Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show!
Hey, guys, it's our 52nd episode. It's our 1-year anniversary. Come on, let's set the mood. Let's bring it down a bit.
Hey there, baby bear.
I love that you're in front of my press. I think it is.
This is mine.
Where's your tux, bro?
This is as close to a tux as I get.
It kind of is a tux,
It's
honestly.
a black and white.
Yeah, you've got the jacket. You've got a tie. You can tie it into a bow. Oh,
Hey, man. Happy anniversary.
happy anniversary, dude.
We got
I don't know if
our
this is-
champagne to toast.
We do. So let's see if I can do this right. Last time I toasted you, like on the screen. This time I'm going to toast like the camera.
Oh,
So
it
it's done, right?
smells like my dad. Hey, to another year.
To another year.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
You like that?
It's actually not that bad.
I know.
It's like piss water.
It's like the number 5 or 6 or something selling beer in America. Because
Hey,
why?
you-
Because it's a high life, you know?
You want to know what's real cool?
What's that?
Behind me, I have the seminar. If they decide to piss me off, check what I can do. I got a rock now. You know what happens if rock pisses me off? You got an Anatol.
Wait a minute. How is that magic happening? What are you doing?
I just got my LEDs back there.
Uh-oh. Check. Okay, we got audio. And it appears to be recording.
I'm gonna finish off that beer.
Didn't fuck up. I hope you have another one.
I have a 6-pack. Is that like a straight up like tux?
That's James Bond style, yeah. Oh, I don't have pants on.
I believe it. Sweatpants.
Got
I
shorts.
was really hoping you had no anything.
Shorts.
Good man.
Yeah. I was visited from Aztec Tees. Here's a sticker of his.
Yep.
And you know what he brought us? Boom.
Those are so baller.
Official shirt show listener bumper stickers.
I ended up talking to him for a little bit, and he said that he was going to send us a bunch, and I said I would put them on the store. So if anybody wants one, they'll be up. Our buddy Ruben.
Our buddy Ruben. And we were going to have to order thousands more from him because the demand is going to
Right,
go. Right. It's going to go viral. Is that what people say? Do you know what? This tie wasn't black about 2 hours ago. I needed a black bow tie and I didn't have one. Instead, I had some stripe bullshit. And I was like, hey, Joanne, can you like Sharpie it or something? And she said, no, I got a better idea. I have some fabric
Dye.
markers. And I keep smelling it and I think I'm getting high.
I hope it bleeds
like-
all over your shirt.
You know, like if you are smelling a Sharpie for an hour, that's kind of what it's like right now.
I usually just tape them in my nostrils. That's how I get through the day on Thursdays.
Well, I love the smell of Sharpies for initially, but then, yeah, probably.
Then when you black out, it's not so good.
Right. Well, this is exciting. We got this show. I'm ready. I've been thinking about this all day.
All
we have a
week.
bunch of questions all week. Yeah, right. Because we were working on these questions and who's going to help us answer them? Because, well, we don't always have the answers, right? Most of the time we don't, actually.
So just so everyone knows, this is our 52nd episode. So it's our year anniversary. And we decided that we were going to do a Q&A episode, and we have 20-ish questions. And
No, there's 20. It's 20 questions. It's not 20-ish.
No. Some of them
20,
are kind
20 questions.
And we asked a bunch of our friends from the show to would they be available for a phone call?
And they all said no.
And they all said no, fuck off.
So
Your show
we're gonna
sucks.
try and work our way through this. And if the answers are wrong, don't. It's not our fucking problem. Like we tried. We tried to.
That's
get
why
the
we
right-
wanted to call people, is because we didn't want it to be on us if it was the wrong answer.
Yeah. Like our lawyers said, hey guys, bad idea. You know, put this on somebody else. But also after the 20 questions, we've got a surprise. Can we say what it is?
Sure, because I don't know what it is.
Well, it's a top 10. Don't say what it is. Let's just say what it's a top 10.
Okay, there's
Okay.
a top 10 after the 20.
Yeah.
So we really should talk about our sponsors, but also big thank yous to our sponsors for teaming up with us and helping us out all year.
Right. So we are recording, right? Because, oh man, that's just something we don't do sometimes. But we are recording. You like my suit?
I love it.
I look like I'm ready to party.
Definitely down to party. DTF.
DTP.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was thinking something else.
Easy way.
Well, hold on. First of all, yeah, let's thank Inksoft. They were our first sponsor.
Inksoft was our first sponsor. They kicked it off last year, and they were our only sponsor, actually, first and only
For
at the
quite a
time.
while.
Yeah.
But the thing was, is we talked to them. They were like, hell yeah, anything we can do to help out. So like, they didn't even hear a single episode. And they were like, we want to help. We want to be a part of it. So.
And they heard the episodes and they say, we don't want to be anymore. We're like, you know what?
They're like, damn it.
Now-
I can't believe I asked them to do this.
Yeah, like now that we've heard these episodes, thanks guys, but
I made a mistake.
we should ring them up right now. You want me to call JP? Wait, probably
No, JP.
Oh, it's kind of too much pressure, like right away.
And then who was next that came
Who
in
was
to help
next?
us out? They were all close.
Yeah. So let's talk about Easy Way. We reached out to them, specifically Alex, because we had, we used their stuff and we loved their stuff. And that was what we wanted from a sponsor, is that, or whatever it was, we wanted to already be using it. And so,
And loving it.
yeah, and loving it. And so Easy Way made sense. We said, Alex, would you want to sponsor our show? And
He said no.
yeah, he also said no. And
And then we found some pictures that, he had no choice.
what do you call it? Some pullback shots. Don't put any of this in there. We said, Alex, would you sponsor our show? And he said, hell yeah. I love the show. Let's do it. And so Easy Way started to sponsor us. And Easy Way's line of eco-friendly chemicals will get the job done faster, more efficiently, and will cost you a fraction.
Do you want me to say of the cost? You do.
This is like we're
you
going
do
back and
5
forth.
minutes. You do 5 minutes of dialogue, and then I'm just supposed to say of the cost at the end.
I paused like 4 times waiting for you to say something, and I got nothing. And so I didn't want it to like die. So I kept it going, and then nothing from you, but sure.
Because
so
I don't
maybe-
need to, because I came up with the slogan for Easy Way a long time ago, and it's the only thing we need to know. Boom, end of story.
If you really want to know, Dylan said Easy Way, it's the hardest way. And I was like, Dylan, no, that's not going to be cool. But you inspired the real slogan, which is what I came up with. And I said,
Okay.
no, not the hardest way, the easiest way. It makes way more sense.
You ready for this?
All I got to do is hold this up, and you know what time it is. Yeah, for those who are listening and not watching, you really need to go to YouTube right now. Look at this. Look what I'm holding. It's an important button. You ready? Oops, my hand was off screen.
Okay, ready? Go ahead.
Frank.
Our good buddy Frank.
Yeah. So once again, we said, you know what? We love Frank. We love GSF.
Andy used Frank first. I got to say that. Andy was the one way before the show even started that talked to me about Frank's screens and turned me on to Frank. And it's one of the best things I ever did.
Yeah. I mean,
Good prints start with great screens.
Ooh, I like that. Good prints start with great screens. Is that on his website? Because it looks like you just came up with another
I should be.
banger. But yeah, pre-stretched or re-stretched dope ass frames. You need to call Frank.
That's on his website. Dope ass frames.
Right. Okay. Next. Next is Monarch Inc. And we were looking for a mixing system a while back, and boy, did we find one. That's all I got.
That's a good slogan. So the honest answer with Monarch was that I used Wilflex for like 10 years, and we, didn't have many problems with it. We liked it. It was good ink, but we did have some issues with certain colors and opacity, and we kind of had to make some sacrifices or pick different colors, or we had to PFP certain colors, and that's stupid. Like, you shouldn't have to do that. And then I got talking to Aaron on the phone for like 2 hours. I think you had kind of a similar conversation with him on the phone where he just like nerded out on ink forever. And we both talked about it. We're like, man, he really knows kind of what he's talking about. And I told him straight up, I was like, hey, here's this one color we always have issues with. If you can mix me a Monarch of that, and I'll try it head to head versus what I got. If it blows what I have out of the water, I'm just going to switch systems completely. So he did. He sent me Stark LB, he sent me Yeti White, and he sent me, I think it was 288C, which is like a blue, which we always had issues with. And I, did, bold letter thing, and I printed one with our Wilflex blue and one with the Monarch blue. And the Monarch blue was like beautiful, soft, matte finish, opaque as hell. And the other one we would have had to hit again. So that changed my mind right there. So if they can get that color right, they can get all the colors right. So, and it's been a great partnership ever since, because anytime I have any issues with anything, I just hit up Aaron and he helps me out and talks me through it. So we love those guys.
Isn't that the most important thing? Like, whether it's Aaron at Monarch, Alex at Easy Way, or Frank at GSF. I mean, isn't it the most important thing to find somebody where you get your supplies and find somebody that knows what they're talking about?
Well, it's funny. We had a conversation on the phone, me and you, a long time ago, and you were like, what's really funny is like the three people I trust the most in the industry are the three people that are supporting our show, which is Alex, Frank, and Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it great when something goes wrong to be able to, because it's inevitable, right? Something's going to happen, whether it's in your screen room.
Well, there's just so many variables.
There's so many variables, and those guys are pros. We're bombarded all day with questions, customers, and whatever. And sometimes we don't know everything. And
a lot of the time,
sometimes maybe we know, but we can't remember. But you call the expert, get them on the phone, and they get it figured out. And I think that's one of the most important things about whoever you decide, whatever chemical company you use, or whatever ink company or frames, wherever you get them from, just have a contact and that knows what they're talking about, and that not only knows what they're talking about, but they'll answer their phone.
Someone that's not a salesman, someone that legit is just trying to help you out.
Yep. So Monarch, ink better, print better, be better.
Live Moss,
Monarch. We said that like at the same time right there, almost like the Bee Gees. It was harmony.
Just like the Bee Gees.
It was just like the Bee Gees, yeah.
Well, are you ready to get on with this?
Yeah, deep breath. I think I'm ready. Do you think I'm ready? I'm going to take another.
All right. I'll do one too.
Chug the rest of this. Let me see.
Oh, God.
Yeah, usually not. I don't think it's a good idea to gargle beer. I don't know.
Just beer in general. Ugh.
Hold on. Champagne.
Shit pain is what I feel.
No.
Such a letdown. 20 questions. Like when we were kids,
Ready?
We'll play 20 questions. These are listener questions. So we're going to shout them out and try to answer them. At the Tipping Point asked us, how did we meet and what is the best and worst part about working together?
How did we meet? Well, it was about 3 a.m., I think. And
I slid into those DMs.
We were both really drunk. I don't know. You were irresistible. What can I say? No, I don't think that's how it happened. How did it happen? Remind me.
Well, I mean, the sheets were soft, but other than that, I don't really remember much about that night.
You blocked the rest out.
Yeah. No, I think it was pretty much just Instagram, right? Like we liked what each other was doing and we talked to each other, and it actually came to a point where we were basically calling each other once a week to, see how your week was and what issues you had. And we tried to figure some stuff out together, and we were doing that for quite a while. And it was funny because I was thinking about it earlier, how when we first started talking about doing this podcast, I was at Disney. I went outside the hotel room and was walking around out on the sidewalk, and we were talking about how we should do shirt show. And I said, yeah, hell yeah, let's talk about it more when I get back.
I started crying.
And then you cried, and then I consoled you. And yeah, that was pretty much it. We were just buds. I mean, we had met a few times at trade shows and hung out and talked and whatever, but we're just online print buddies at first.
Yeah, isn't that so cool that now, because of Instagram or whatever, maybe it's Facebook or whatever it is, that printers can connect. And it's not like you live close to me or anything, you know. And so I wouldn't be randomly driving through Whitney Point, New York, and
nobody is.
In. So, but because of Instagram and because you had some, presence there, we started talking. And I think it was, how if you get in a jam and you're like, so you have an iMage too.
Not actually having
this. Yeah. And so you just kind of help each other out, and then you just start talking, and so that's the way I remember it happening. Is that the question? And what's the worst? What's the best and worst part about working together?
Well, the best part is kind of leading into what we were just talking about, is that we kind of motivate each other, and talk about shop and life, and, we hold each other accountable. And I mean, to me, that's the best part. And we get to hang out once a week and talk shit. So that's pretty awesome. Is that the best part for you?
Yeah, same. I think it's, with the 20 questions or the top 10, we don't argue about shit. So if you don't want to do one of the questions, we don't do one of the questions. If I don't want to do one of the questions, we don't do one of the questions. It's just so easy. And when you get along with somebody like that, then I don't know, keep them around.
Yeah. For at least 52 episodes.
Right.
The worst part is probably the fact that I'm so attracted to you and you're too far away for this romance. And, just maybe 2 trips out to your place to snuggle once in a while isn't enough for me. Dylan. Same for you.
Yeah, I think that we as human beings, we do need we need hugs. And if I could hug you right now through this computer, I would, Dylan.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Same.
Next, King Screen Scott. He asks, if you could magically invent any automation you can dream of, what would it do?
I would want some kind of robot to run the press. I want a printer. I want a bot set up to run the auto that doesn't get tired, can work 24/7, and it can make calculated decisions, or at least send me text approvals of should I do this, or do you want me to flash this, or whatever, stuff a printer gives you, but just it never gets tired, and you can it can work weekends, it can work nights, doesn't require payroll. But I want it to run the press because I want that screen printing quality. That's what I would want.
I'm going to play off of that and alter it slightly. I would just like to clone people here. Let's just clone me, so I could clone myself. I could be here, but then also not be here.
I think there's some ethical issues with that, though.
Not for me. It doesn't bother me any.
Cool.
And so I
Clone
clone
myself.
myself, and then myself is here doing things.
Yeah, have you ever
Baby.
watched any of those clone movies where like the clone kills you because it's jealous of your life and you make the clone work, but not do the fun things that you do?
It would not be a self-aware clone. It would just kind of be, oh, I'm a clone.
Oh, I'm a clone.
Yeah. It wouldn't be like, oh, I'm a pissed off clone, because no, that's not what it would be like. They
It would
would
just
know
be-
the deal.
Dead inside Andy that
Yeah.
walks around the shop.
Dylan, don't ruin this. Don't fucking ruin this, okay? Because I just said this last week that I want to clone everyone here, because right now I can't find. Well,
Yeah.
sort of.
Well, that's why I want somebody to run the press.
The whole
Yeah.
story. But I want a human being, because I want a human being running the press, because I don't think a robot would be very good. Instead, we need clones. Like you could clone Randy, right?
Yeah, but
That'd
then
be
it's still a human being that gets tired and needs food and needs pay. I'm saying I can have something that just runs the press. Not saying get rid of Randy, but like if I had another press and I just could put a robot on it and be like, hey, it's fucking 3 a.m. on a Wednesday, the thing's still here printing. Like there's still jobs getting out constantly.
I think I'm onto something here, and I'm just not explaining it good enough. But
All right.
what
Well,
if we called Scott?
let's call our buddy Scott from King Screen and see what he has to say.
We did not practice this. We have no idea what we're doing, as usual.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see if this works.
What is that?
Go to mom. That's my son.
Oh yeah, I was like, Scott, you sound kind of funny.
I always get super whiny like that at 6:45. No, I don't want to talk on the phone.
How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm literally barefoot, standing on the sand at the beach.
That sounds horrible.
See, now I thought Dylan was going to go to the foot fetish thing, because it's always that with you. And you said you're barefoot.
Yeah.
And
Here we go.
Here
we go.
You had to start it, didn't you?
It's a good
Yeah.
thing Andy doesn't have pants on.
But, I mean, literally everyone here bare feet. It's pure heaven.
We thought we would call you because we're trying to answer some of these listener questions, and there was a really good one put in by this guy named Scott from King Screen.
Oh, I know that guy.
Yeah. You actually put in a few questions, so I better tell you which one it is. It is the one that says, if you could magically invent any automation you can dream of, what would it do? But Dylan said he wanted a robot. I said I wanted to be able to clone people.
I didn't just say I wanted a robot. I said I wanted a robot to run the press 24/7. The reason why we wanted to ask you this is because you're in the middle of trying to make that automation for pulling shirts off the dryer.
Yeah. So basically the concept is kind of, I mean, you're probably both familiar with the M&R passport. So
Yeah.
the premise of it is basically a passport for the end of the belt. And so what it will do is, as the shirt's coming off the belt, it triggers an optical eye sensor, and then two square bars come together and grab the shirt, and then that apparatus is going to run up a slight incline, and when it gets to the top of the incline, it triggers. It's actually a manual switch that was triggered by the motion that will then let go of the shirt and drop it onto the way I'm designing it. It will drop it onto the flat carts, the shirt carts that we use. So that's the premise.
Mm-hmm.
So the apparatus works, and it's already functional. And now we're just working. I shouldn't even say we. My dad, who's the inventor of all things, I have no ability to make any of this stuff a reality. I have a lot of strange ideas with minimal ability to make them reality. My dad is completely responsible for all of it. So right now it's just figuring out really speed and timing and getting the shirt to run up the track and drop down in a usable stack. But regardless, in my opinion, it's better than just running it off into a bin,
Yeah, for sure.
That's then got to be sorted. That's the general concept for the piece of equipment.
First question is, Does it look at its iPhone a lot?
Yeah, well, it's solely just it actually has built-in program that every like 3 to 4 minutes it refreshes its own Instagram page, and then it takes a picture of itself and then posts it with inspirational quotes.
That's genius.
Yeah, and then it goes to the bathroom for 45 minutes.
Gotta get paid to take a shit, man.
So as it's stacking the shirts, like, so what if you do 100 shirts or 200 shirts, 300 shirts? Like, does that table or cart that it's stacking on lower? Or, I mean, how does that work?
The idea right now to get around that is to have the incline adjustable. And so that's one of the things that we're trying to figure out how to accommodate, because if you have yet another moving mechanism, then that's something else that you have to design and then program and all of that. I think that was ultimately, if you guys are aware of do you guys know about the one M&R designed and built like ages ago? It's called the Outback.
No, Do you know, Dylan?
The Outback Steakhouse?
So M&R had a prototype, and I don't know how many they actually made, but they had a machine that was called an Outback, and it was basically another small little short, like 4-foot conveyor belt, and then a scissor table that basically, as the shirt rolled off of that second belt, the table would also shoot out, but then it was a scissor table, so that lowered. So I don't know why they abandoned like developing that, but clearly that's not like a staple piece of equipment that's in everybody's shop now. But M&R had a shirt like catcher stacker at one point in time.
Probably just wasn't a big demand for it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. And I think that's what's happening right now. I mean, as you guys know, it's everybody I've talked to is busier than ever, and they can't keep up. And then equally, they can't find anybody.
Right.
I mean,
well, the problem they had back then was you probably could get cheap labor. You know what I mean? There was abundance of people that wanted to work, and now we have the opposite problem. So.
And, you know, at some point, in my personal opinion, we're all going to have to deal with the fact that, you know, there's a lower interest in our industry, period. I mean, I got an 8-year-old that if you ask him, he's quite literally growing up in a screen printing shop, and you ask him what he wants to do for a living, and he says he wants to be a YouTuber. So, like, being like, nah, you don't want to be famous on YouTube. You want to stand in this hot ass warehouse and print these shirts with your old man. So, you know, on top of every other issue, there is, in my opinion, like I said, there's a lack of interest in, or a decrease in the interest in our industry. I mean, I've had to kind of come to terms with that with some of our new hires. Even, I mean, our newest press operator, 100% totally green, never even been in a screen printing shop until he came in to interview. And I can pretty much say with confidence that, like, if we get a year or two out of him, that would be amazing. But probably, like my last press operator that I did the same thing with, 2 years, and he's, you know, moved on to other things.
Yeah, I think we're all going to face a little different labor market. I don't know how long it's going to last, if it's just this year or 2 years or 5 years or something, because, I mean, as you know, everything moves in cycles or patterns. And so, I mean, I think it's, if there is a, right now anyway, a move to less manual labor or less work and more like YouTube star type stuff or whatever, I mean, people will have to, once there's too many and it's oversaturated and there's too many YouTubers, whatever, it'll just shift to something else, right? So we hope so.
I mean, I think that is already the case. I mean, not every single person can be an influencer. I mean, so I think that bubble's already popping. And when I talk about, like, oh, my 8-year-old wants to be a YouTuber when he grows up, that won't be a thing when he's grown up. And at some point, I mean, I think that this has been an issue like with the welding industry and stuff. Like there's been this like major shortage of trade professions and the lack of people filling those positions. And that's why a lot of trade positions become, these guys make 60, 70, 80 bucks an hour or more, depending on, whatever trade it is. And I think that's what we're seeing in our industry now. It's like, you ask Brant how he got his new like press operator. He's
right.
paying him like, huge amount of money.
Yeah, he was already experienced and skilled, which is a little different than your situation, hiring that somebody that was green and had never printed before. But true, I get it.
Problem was that like he didn't want to, and it's the same reason why you want to go back to what we asked. What automate was that you don't have to teach the automation. Like you made it to do that task. You know what I mean? And like with Brant, he didn't want to have to go down that road of like find somebody, hopefully they work out for like a year or two and then start over again and then do it all over again. So he was just like, screw it. Like, here's a high pay, here's high incentives. Give me a really skilled printer that can just be here and work and I can count on.
Yeah.
So he went the other route, you know what I mean? Which was funny when he did it because like every shop saw that post and was like pissed because all of their printers were like, how come I'm not getting that? Yeah. But I'm all about it. Like he did it his own way and he got a great guy. He got Casey in there and I kind of helped him with that. And Casey's a great dude, super talented printer. So, I mean, it worked and you got to give him credit for that.
Yep. And that's what we, every time I bring in, the last press operator I had, he came in green. He was with us for 2 years and we tell him off the bat, it's like, look, we can train you to learn this profession, this trade. And then when you do likely inevitably leave here for greener pastures or other opportunities. And, with our last presser operator, he just got an opportunity to move to Miami with like his sister, and he was like 26. So this 26-year-old guy's like, oh, I get to leave Roanoke, Virginia and get an opportunity to move to Miami. Like, of course he's going to do it. But then right off the bat, it's like, well, guess what? When you get to Miami, you're going to have 2 years like press operator experience. Like you're going to be able to get a job.
Mm-hmm.
Now, little did he know he moved in February of 2020. So, he had no idea what was the reality was actually going to be when he got to Miami. But there's a limit to automation. Let's say you're running a automatic and you've got a passport and then you have an automatic shirt catcher. Well, that means the only person seeing the shirt is the person putting a blank shirt on a press. So you also have to consider all these points are a loss of a quality control point as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if something gets past an unloader that doesn't see a thread or a pill or a pinhole, then you're running that off into a shirt catching apparatus or automation, whatever, then they're clearly not seeing it either because it's a robot that's just like, I'm solely here to stack these up.
Yeah, my workaround for that is a scanner, a high speed, high res scanner. So as the pallet comes to the offload station, as it's coming, I guess somebody else likes that idea I hear too. But it comes over and it's this, it scans the shirt, right? And it picks up if there's not enough ink coverage or if there's you know what I mean? If there's a bugger or whatever. And I guess
it's a hell of a piece of equipment.
We're talking in the future.
Yeah, this is
far in the future.
We're in the future.
Oh, absolutely.
We're in the future now.
Absolutely.
That's really not that far fetched. We need you to invent that too. I'm gonna change my. No, I'm gonna stick with the clone. I want to be able to clone people.
And not to bash our employees because like we love our employees. The problem is we can't find enough or more of the people that we have that we love and trust and can do the work. So that's the reason why we say this. We're not just evil company owners that are trying to get rid of people and get machines. We just need some help.
So then I think at that point, I don't know if you haven't seen the movie Moon, then you should watch that movie and just consider, like, instead of mining minerals from the surface of the moon, you just apply to, well, this guy's just a screen printer, because then, and if you haven't seen that movie, they clone workers to mine resources from the surface of the moon, and they're clones, which they don't realize they're clones, and therefore this greater unknown higher power just lets them die off. So then you have like the ethical issue of, well,
That's what I said.
Is a clone just a piece of, do you consider a clone a robot that you just like dispose of when it's run its course?
It's the same thing. It's the same thing as that movie Oblivion with Tom Cruise.
You're talking about when he recreates, or he dies and then comes back to life?
No.
Each time he's trying to like kill a robot or whatever. And
They're like what are they called? Kind of like a far in the future high tech like janitor that like takes care of these water mining things for this big, it's supposed to be like this big colony or whatever, and then they find out that there's tons of clones of them or whatever, and same thing. It's just clones are bad, Andy.
Is Emily Blunt in that movie?
No, that's what is that one?
Oh, I have the wrong movie. Anyway, Scott, thanks for talking
Edge
to
of
us.
Tomorrow.
Yes. What is that called?
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. Another great movie.
All right, Scott, we love you. Thank you for taking the call.
Congratulations on the anniversary.
Hey, thank you very much.
We're going to make it. Rooting for you the whole time.
Thanks, dude. And
Appreciate it.
Enjoy the rest of your vacation.
Will do.
All right. See you.
Thanks. All right, bye.
Scott, the king of screens, also the king of long-winded answers.
Well, he didn't set the record for longest podcast. That was a gentleman by the name of Tony.
Who we might talk to next.
And I think we should.
You know what I was thinking too, and I forgot to ask you, is did you tell the people that we wanted to call the question so they could prepare?
No. We call the guest, then we ask the question. He answers the question.
Tony said he was on the road. Hey, buddy.
What's up?
What's happening?
Not much. Just landed home from Boston.
Just landed home from your car?
Just landed home from the car.
Nice.
What's going on over there? You guys are deep into this.
Yeah, you're question 3, so I mean it's early on.
Oh man. You guys are a little behind schedule.
A little bit. It's okay.
Tony, can you hear me?
Can you hear Andy at all? Because he's on. It's kind of hard.
Tony?
I hear him like
tiny
the
fish.
shadow of a printer. Like a ghost print of the past.
All right. So question 3. Quickest you ever knew an employee wouldn't work out, and how did you know?
So there's the shortest person ever was so we had this gentleman who may or may not have been, he was kind of this transient part-time guy we had. He would come in and work when we needed extra help. He's a neighborhood guy. And he brought in a friend one day for part-time work. And she came in and she was clearly under the influence of something. And she was kind of like, at first we're like, oh, maybe she's got kind of a weird mannerism about her. So we had her in kind of in the finishing department, and she was like, when do we get paid? I'm like, well, we'll give you cash at the end of the week, because it was kind of like a cash situation. Right. And then she was like, okay. Then 2 minutes later, when do we get paid? I was like, this is a little suspect. It's a little suspect. And then she like wandered off and was just like staring at the wall. I don't know. She was clearly like on something.
She was high as a kite.
She was high as a kite. Yeah. So I walked in there and I said, okay. And I at one point, it was kind of like,
what you should have done is you should have walked up to her and asked her when do you get paid?
That's what I should have said. Pop quiz. When do you get paid? No, it ended up being like a scene in The Bodyguard where like Kevin Costner comes and grabs like Whitney Houston and like rushes her out. I just kind of came over because all of the staff at this point in the finishing department was looking at me like, what are you doing with this person here? And I just kind of came in and she asked me some question about something. I was like, okay, just come with me this way. And I just asked, it was maybe like 7 minutes.
7 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 7 minutes for the technical fastest. But then that was a kind of like a, like I said, she probably wasn't going to work there very long anyway. We did have someone that we hired, and within the first hour, they were on the end of the belt catching shirts. And I think it was a mutual, this isn't going to work out, to be honest, because about an hour in, she was catching this job, and the 2 autos on the one belt were running, and the manual printer started printing tags. And normally we would not subject someone to all 3 presses on that belt running. But for some reason, she ended up down there by herself for whatever it was, 10 minutes, and she froze right up. She just looked straight up at the person next to her and was like, I need to get out of here. And she almost bolted, and we tried to corral her in to some extent, like, because she was going into the closet thinking it was the exit. And like, it just turned into this total calamity. But that was probably number 2 fastest, which was like an hour or so.
The best part is both of my stories are almost identical to your stories.
Yeah, she just was like, I don't want this at all. And then I had the more complicated ones, which were like, I had this one guy who he wanted to be in the art department. I said, listen, if you're going to be in the art department, because you don't know anything about screen printing, you're going to start on the shop floor for like 2 weeks. Or I think it was maybe 3 months. I said 3 months on the shop floor.
2 weeks and 3 months are a little different.
I think it was 3 months, but the second part of the story gets to 2 weeks. So it's 3 months. We'll start you on the shop floor. After that, we'll get you into the art department. This way you have like an idea of what a screen is or anything that you're doing in the art department. And I think about 2 weeks in, he's like, I just can't handle this. When am I going to move up? What am I going to? So I pulled him into the office. He's like, I'm not learning anything. Blah, 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 blah. I go, if you're not learning anything out here, that's your fault. That's not my fault. I was like, you need to start emailing. So I made him email me 3 things a day that he was learning on the shop floor. I goes, if you're out there every day and you're catching and you're doing this and you're seeing the prints and you're seeing the inks and you don't know any of it, then you need to change your mindset on the shop floor. And then I said, enough for nothing. This interaction right here is making me feel a little suspect that you're going to work out in the long run. I feel like whatever problem you're having has nothing to do with work. You are looking for something beyond work, and you're using this situation to just gripe.
Right.
Because if you're not seeing what you can learn
you can't hear me
in this shop floor environment, then you're not getting it. I go, and I'm a little nervous about putting you in the art department because I don't want this to drag out 6 months and then something happens and you start resenting us and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, fast forward, it went exactly like that. He made it to the 3-month mark, put him in the art department. Then he became disillusioned with the art department. And then he got all resentful, and then he just ended up hating us. And then we had like a bad breakup at the end.
Just red flags from the beginning.
Just so many. I've learned so many lessons since then. But I would never. I just knew I should have followed my gut. As soon as he had that meltdown about working on the shop floor for 2 weeks or whatever, 2 weeks into the very clearly stated, like, we're going to be X amount of time on the shop floor. And then he just had a straight meltdown. And so those are the kind of 3, that's the technical fastest. The lessons I've learned as far as like actual, like, listen, I said all this, you're not following along with all this. Let's not move on to the part 2. If we can't get through part 1, let's not go to part 2.
I think the biggest takeaway from this is keep an eye out for red flags and trust your gut, because like crazy meth lady in the beginning, obvious red flags 7 minutes in. And then, everyone else after that, it's like, if you're getting any kind of red flags from your employee, I feel like within the first couple of weeks, you should evaluate. Because if you're expecting this person to last years or have a career there and they're having a bunch of red flags that early on, it's something we should think about.
Yeah, I mean, I had on Monday, I had to let someone go that's been with us, and they were actually a killer employee as far as work ethic and tagging and relabeling. But I learned from all my red flag lessons, and he had a complaint against him, kind of like a general, like he's weirded me out complaint. And I talked to him about it, and I just did not like his answers. He wasn't kind of taking ownership of it. He was kind of trying to downplay it. And I've been through this road too, where you have someone who has like zero empathy for their coworkers, and everyone's an idiot, and it's just this grump basically.
Right.
It's like, yes, he's an awesome worker, but he's an asshole. So I just said, listen, man, you're not taking ownership of any of this. This conversation went the exact opposite of how I thought it would go. So we're just gonna part ways, and I let him go on Monday. So, but yeah, it's the red flags. He hit all the red flags that I've come to learn over the last 15 years, and I just said, forget it. I'm not gonna keep going until we're so intertwined that it just becomes a hot mess.
No, I agree with you.
Yep.
Well, hey,
yes,
we love you and we appreciate you, and thanks for holding the record for the longest episode on our first year. Yes, I'm glad that I could do that. I'm sorry that I couldn't hear your partner in crime. Congratulations on your guys' first year and all the great information you're giving everyone. You're doing a knockout job. Hey, thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Well, go enjoy being home from Boston.
Yes, I will.
All right, buddy. Have fun. We appreciate you.
All right, crew. Later.
Thanks,
Congratulations.
That was a good answer.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Good stories. You have similar funny stories. I have similar funny stories. I thought he was going to say, I was waiting for him to say, like, the story, like it was a Karate Kid, man. Like so you fucking I had to wax your car. I painted your fence. This is bullshit. Like, I quit, right?
Right.
Then Mr. Miyagi comes out there and so I was
Right.
waiting for him to say, like, the dude just printed a whole order by himself, and he actually did learn something, but no.
Right. Nothing.
Nope. Nothing.
Real world, not Mr. Miyagi.
Real world. But
I feel like we've answered this question a couple times on the podcast, so I don't know if we need to go super in detail, but
nah.
I had one just like him where I had a guy in here that I don't even know how we got him here, but same thing. He was on something. He was in the bathroom every 5 minutes for like 10 minutes. And then that guy obviously didn't work out. And then my fastest one was the one that we hired somebody on the spot kind of, and then he asked us to wait 2 weeks at his, whatever he was doing. He wasn't working. It was just, he needed 2 weeks. And then he finally got here, and he was here a total of a half hour. And he said he would rather kill himself than wash screens, and left while I was at lunch. So
I remember that one. That's a great story. That's one you need to tell your grandkids.
right.
I don't know. Have you ever had the police show up for somebody?
No, I haven't. Have
you ever
you?
bailed? Yes. Have you ever bailed somebody out of jail?
No. You did both of those?
I did both of them.
Are they related?
You mean
The
like
police
a
and the
relative?
jail one?
Oh,
No, I mean like same employee?
different. Yeah.
Okay.
different.
You got to tell those real quick.
No, I mean, that's what happened. That's the punchline. Police showed up for somebody once, and then he was gone. And then and then I got a call. And you know how it is. Like, if somebody's worked for you for a while and they're like, I'm in jail, I need you to come get me. You do it, right? For certain people. Yeah. And so I went.
At least for the story.
Right.
Or to poke fun at them and let them stay there.
Question number 4. Let's go. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Quattro. What trade shows are you visiting this year?
Asked by our buddy Scott at King Screen again.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, Scott, he's got the questions, right?
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Are you visiting any trade shows this year?
Only if you do.
Okay. Well, I'd love for you to come with me. I plan on going to Print United, which I believe is in Orlando in October. I also plan on going to Atlantic City, which I feel like is, I can't remember.
Wait,
I think it's September.
That's soon.
Atlantic City. Yeah, they're all near the end of the year.
Gotcha.
Atlantic City. and then hopefully Print Hustlers in Chicago, which is also in October.
Hustlers.
So a lot of a lot of travel in October, I feel like.
Print Hustlers. That sounds good. Did you ever go to Have you been to one of those yet?
I didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Awesome.
No, it always landed on a time when I couldn't make it. But yeah, that one will be fun just because it's Chicago and we have a lot of buddies there.
We do.
And it's put on by Printavo. I really wanted to do ISS this year, but obviously I think that's going to happen in 2022. But yeah, those I think are the ones that I'm going to go to. And if you want to come with me, you're more than welcome.
All right. Maybe I'll get a room next to a psychopath. Or maybe we should just get.
Well, when we go to Print Hustlers, let's just go to that same hotel.
Right. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm going to go to the ones, whatever ones. Well, I probably won't go to Atlantic City, but I guess I would go to Orlando. That sounds good. I would go to Print Hustlers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the biggie, Long Beach, January.
Yeah.
2022.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's not this year though.
Oh, well, it's within a year.
Within a year of now. Yes. All right.
Yeah,
question 5. What's your best trick to know the proper amount of ink to mix?
Juan.
We got to
to answer that question, right?
Call Juan for that one.
That question was from, did you say Unique Print Shop?
Unique Print Shop.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, man?
Hey, Juan, how are you? Can you hear Dylan? Dylan, say something.
Hey, buddy. What's up?
Yo, what's up, Dylan?
We're glad you could make it.
Dude, I'm stoked you guys give me a call.
Yeah, well, we have a question. We have a listener question, and I don't know the answer to this. It seems like
I do.
Dylan has the good answer, but I don't know. I always overbuy or overmix ink. That's because I never want to run out, right? That would be the worst.
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons why we wanted to ask you on is because you do a lot of water-based stuff, and more so with water-based and plastisol, you need to make sure you mixed enough, or you don't want to mix too much because then you're going to waste it.
Yeah, you're throwing a bunch away if you don't have the right quantities.
Right. So what do you do when you figure it?
My best trick or my suggestion would be to use a log to document and analyze the amount of ink that you normally use for every project. And then you got to make sure you factor in the graphic size, the overall surface area, and the total amount of garments that you're printing.
Mm-hmm.
There's some other things that you can factor in there too that are just more variables, like if you're doing multiple locations. But those are going to be the main ones. And I think the more that you do that and you get better at like keeping your log, and you're basically just guessing at first, but you're being very forgiving. You're doing a lot at first, but then you start tightening up the numbers, and then that's when you start getting good at like mixing the perfect amount.
I like that. I think that, we run Monday here, and we put in notes after we print a job. Sometimes if there's, like if something is unique to printing that job. And so all it would take is to just
recording.
Yeah. Just record in how many ounces of ink or whatever you mixed for that job. And because, right there in Monday, how many shirts it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I think you would have a good idea.
Yeah. And not only that, but another tip or another thing you can do is when you're done with the project, you can weigh your ink again and see, okay, how much did I truly use, or, and then you have a better idea. Okay, this much was left over. And then, okay, like this much went to waste. So this is how much we didn't even need. And then you start even realizing more like, okay, we could tighten up the numbers even more. And then once you get where you want to be, you'll just get better and better at guesstimating, basically.
I like it. Thanks, man. Our last question, the question before this was, what trade shows are you guys going to? And it got me thinking that we all need to meet up soon. And so Dylan was saying he's going to Orlando, right? Pretty United. Do you have any plans to go anywhere?
Damn,
Trade show wise?
I don't even know. Shit, I for sure want to go to ISS Long Beach, but that's like a long ways away. But when is that other one in Florida?
October.
It's October, and then there's Print Hustlers in Chicago, and I think that's September.
They're both October.
Yeah, so just to put that on your radar, get something scheduled. Love to see
We
you.
miss you. We want to see you.
Dude, I'm down to go over there. It's not hurricane season, right?
Even if it is, dude, let's just ride it out. Let's have fun. YOLO.
Fuck it. All right, let's go. We'll party Florida style.
Hell yeah.
All right, man. Thanks. Good talking to you.
All right, good talking to you guys.
See you, buddy.
See you, bud.
Wait, I all of a sudden I heard music. I should have kept it going. Like you started playing.
He was actually playing with his band and just immediately went right back into it. There is another answer to that question, and a lot of ink mixing systems, well, I don't know if a lot of them do, but I've had a couple. I think our Willflex one did, but I know International Coatings has a system, and like you can just use this even if you don't use International Coatings, but it's I wrote it down. It's www.iccul, so it's International Coatings, so iccultramix.com. And it's their mixing system. But if you click on the little wrench by where you would put in what Pantone you're doing, it's an actual calculator to figure out how many grams of ink to mix. So it asks you for what mesh you're using, square inch of the print area, coverage percentage, and number of prints. And it'll tell you, like, go ahead and mix, 250 grams or whatever it is. So it's a good head start to figure out roughly how much you need, because again, same thing like Juan was saying, is that a lot of times when we're doing discharge or we're mixing U-base for a job or whatever, I'll be like, all right, this is going to take a full cup, and then we'll print the whole job and they would have only used a quarter cup, and I just wasted, 3/4 of a cup of discharge, and they have to throw it in the garbage. So what you can do is exactly what he said. You could just reweigh it, be like, okay, for this job, this is how much we use. And then next time, but you never know for the first time without like years of experience of knowing, oh, this is probably around this much. So if you can take advantage of these calculators, it'd probably help you out.
Good advice, Dylan.
Hey, thanks, man.
Next question.
Number 6, you ask.
Number 6. Do you have a man crush on Matt Marcotte or Marcotte?
How do you pronounce
Matt
it?
who? I don't know. Not sure. Matt who?
Marcotte?
Yeah, I don't know who that dude is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Next
Question 7.
Question 7. It's yours.
Dear sir or madam, do you need digitizing service? Damn it. They always get us. Number 8 is you.
Yeah, wait. So do you know how many when we say, hey, we have questions, how many fucking digitizers asked a question? Like, not only are they emailing us and messaging us, they actually are typing in the question box on our story.
Dude, it's so many like requested DMs every single day that are digitizers. And the best part is they're getting like so tricky with like, I've had ones where they have like a photo of a Sasquatch as like their photo, and they're like, I'm like, damn it, they almost got me. But it's so ridiculous. It needs to end. I don't understand why they think that we're gonna like trust them or want to use them. Go about it a different way, guys.
Great advice.
All right. Next question.
Here we go. Here we go.
It's voicemail.
Hi, this is Eric Solomon with Night Owls Print Shop.
I just looked at the question we were going to ask Eric, and it reads this: why is waterbed ink king? What's waterbed ink, Dylan? I don't know. I've never heard of that. It's just like ink.
You don't have a waterbed?
I used to. Did you have a waterbed ever?
My dad has a waterbed.
Like currently has a waterbed? Like
Yeah, he will only sleep on a waterbed.
It's not. That's false. It's not real. Like that. It's not.
That is real. I 100% promise you he's sleeping on a waterbed right now.
Anymore. Like he's going to have to.
Custom. I don't know. He's got one. He's also got a giant mirror above his bed.
That's not real.
That's real. This is all real. I promise you.
You know what? I'm learning a lot more about you today. It's been a whole year, and
You're learning a lot about my dad, I feel like.
Yeah, but that kind of is a little bit about you too. Hey, I would say this. I inherited my parents' waterbed. Like they were getting rid of their waterbed or a waterbed and moving to a normal bed. And I was like, oh yeah, I was like in high school. I was like, yeah, I want a waterbed. That'd be cool. And I've
tried to sleep on it before. So, it's awful.
It was horrible.
Just like,
but that's how the question reads. Why is waterbed ink king? That was what we were going to ask Eric.
Call him again. We got to give him 2 tries.
All right, Dad. Want to listen to his voicemail again?
No.
We're gonna.
Hi, this is Eric Solomon with.
All right, let's start number 9, and he's going to end up calling us back. All right, so number 9. What is the worst mistake you have made, and how did you fix it? That question was asked by our good buddy Tom Trimmingham at M&R. And I wanted to call Gabe from Maybe Tomorrow and ask him that question.
Eric just texted me and he said, "What's up?"
All right, call Eric.
Did I not ask him?
Knowing you, probably not.
I swear I did.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, dude.
What's up, buddy?
Sorry, I missed a call earlier. I didn't have my phone on me. I was getting text through my computer.
Well, we give you 3 chances. Dylan wanted to only give you 2 chances, but I'm like, nope. We love Eric, and
that's not true at all.
See, that's why Andy and I are friends, and Dylan can fuck off. So.
Whoa.
Exactly right. So, listen, we got this.
I can't wait. No, Chad, you cannot edit that out to show truthfully what really happened.
Before you guys ask me the question, can I ask, is it going to be about plantar fasciitis? Is that what we're going to talk about? Because I'm all about talking about some foot health for us screen printers that are standing on our feet all day.
100%. I agree. It's question number 8. It was put in by a guy named Eric, which is you from Night Owls, and he asks, why is water-based ink king?
Okay, so there's many reasons. The reason that we like it the best is it sets us apart from the majority of other shops in the United States. That's the truth of it. Most people don't want to fuck around with it, and rightfully so. It's a pain in the ass. That pretty much answers everything, to be honest with you. It's like, it's difficult, but it provides a superior product in my opinion.
So it gives you a competitive advantage and also, in your opinion, a superior product.
Absolutely. I mean, and the thing with water-based, it's kind of the same with plastisol, right? Like there's a whole bunch of different variations of it to some extent. And so when people talk to us about water-based, they're usually talking about discharging. And so that's kind of everyone's like basis in their mind of where they're starting from. And they want that really soft kind of like, they don't want any feel to their shirt, right? Which is like, that's the goal for everyone. They want it as soft as possible. But with plastisol, even though you can get it soft, it's not really breathable. It's not really flexible. Oftentimes you're just left with a kind of a plastic shield on your chest. Even if you do it really, really well, that sweat can pool behind it. And being in Texas, that is like the worst thing. You guys know what I'm talking about? That giant plastic shield with the pool of sweat behind it on your chest?
Yeah, we definitely know. Highly agree. I like a hybrid version of a discharge with plastisol on top. And that's only because, well, I don't know how to print water-based ink. And so we have to learn. And it'd be awesome if you came up and taught us.
Yeah, we're constantly throwing ideas out on doing some classes. And now that the world is starting to open up again, people are getting vaccinated, shows are happening, people are able to travel. We're talking about doing that whether it's at our facility or somewhere else, talking with partners, whether it be like Matsui or some other companies that we work with. But we would like to start being able to teach people, because it's not as hard as people think. You just have to. The real thing about water-based is that you have to have your shit together. And I feel like both of you guys would be able to grasp it pretty easily after some minor frustrations.
Cool.
Can you go into, we do some water-based and, we do a little of both, but can you go into more why you feel like it's a superior print for a customer? Like say you're just doing like a black tee with a 4-color print on it, using water-based inks, not discharge. What would a customer notice in difference that doesn't know anything about either?
Yeah, it's an absolutely great question, because to be honest with you, most customers, they don't care. It's more us industry professionals that know the difference. But I will say, like a 4-color print on a black shirt, if it was all HSA, the thing that you will see right away is that again, if it's done correctly, and same thing with plastisol, there's a million ways to do it wrong. Or not wrong, I shouldn't say that, but you guys know just as well as I do, there's a number of printers out there. They might print that 4-color print with, 110 screens, print, flash, print everything. Still 4-color print, even though that's not how we would do it.
Right.
Water-based is sort of the same way, right? Like there's good ways to do it. There's not so good ways, but like when it's really dialed in, and I think that we're 90% of the way there, it's really soft. It's really breathable. It's never going to be as soft as discharge or low solids water-based that dies into the fabric. But yeah, I mean, we've done sim process with it where like it is almost as soft as discharge. Like there's just a little bit of a texture to it, but otherwise like it's soft. You want to wear that shirt. You don't regret putting that on in like 100-degree summer day type of situation.
Yeah, like I've noticed with water-based is it's definitely got more of that like silky feel when you rub your hand over it versus plastisol has,
right, where
right.
It's more of kind of like a stiffer plastic. And like funny enough too, like what we call water-based here in the US or high solid acrylic or HSA, you might hear it referred to as often. In other parts of the world, oftentimes they refer to it as rubber ink because it has that rubbery feel. And again, like for us and the customers we work with, like our shop preference, that feel is superior than kind of a stiffer plastisol feel. Well, like at the end of the day, it's going to be what the customer says and what they decide is the quality shirt. And most customers, they're not going to really know any difference. But I guarantee that if you were to show them a water-based, an HSA print done well or a plastisol print done well, that HSA is going to win every time.
Yeah, there's definitely applications for it. 100% right. I mean, I think though, I don't know. I mean, are there shops that run both equally, like half plastisol, half HSA, let's say? I mean, are there shops that pull that off on a daily basis?
I'm sure there are. I mean, it's the type of thing where it's like water-based is another tool in your toolbox as like a print shop, right? And so you can do whatever you feel best. Like maybe plastisol is more economical or allows you to charge less than if you're doing water-based. You also have to remember too that, again, a finely tuned like water-based shop, if they're printing that 4-color print on black, it's probably going to be 6 or 7 colors easily. I mean, we double underbase everything, and that helps not only with the hand, weirdly enough, but also with opacity, matting down fibers, and in general, like it just gives it like it just gives it like a really good solid foundation.
Well, I think that plastisol printers, just because it's a 4-color print, a lot of times it'll be 5 or 6. I mean, so just like you said, we have a highlight white. Like a way around a thicker print, right, is to not do a double underbase instead, with plastisol that is. Instead, you do one underbase, you do the colors, and then you come in at the end, usually at the end, with a highlight white, wherever anything's white, right? And so that way you don't have 3 layers of ink, you only have 2, at most anywhere. And so, I mean, we try to make it softer too. We try to use inks that drape better. But at the end of the day, water-based definitely feels better to the hand when the right application is is there for you. And that's why I asked, like, is it possible for me to run plastisol and also water base, and like realistically, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely possible, but I also think that the more that you get experience with with HSA and doing high color count HSA, you start to understand that it looks and feels a little bit better. And, I think, again, I don't want to speak out of turn, but between our three shops, I think we all sort of strive for the same thing. Like, we want to give that customer, we want them to pull this shirt out of the laundry first every single time. We want it to be the shirt that they sleep in, that they find is like their favorite shirt. That's our goal, right? And by doing that with an ink system that creates a completely comfortable shirt, like, why wouldn't you want to go to making that like your main choice?
All right. Beautiful answer. Dylan, you got anything?
No, I mean, that's perfect. And that's the exact reason why we wanted to call you, Eric. And, we love you, and you always have the goods. So, and again, it's the same thing. I feel like we're all print nerds, and we're just trying to do the best that we can possibly do and not just settle. So, great answers, and we'll have to hang out more, and you'll have to Mr. Miyagi us and teach us your ways.
And it's like anything else. And my wife and I, who run Night Owls, and a couple of our employees too, like, we love listening to the podcast and hearing different perspectives from different shops, because like, what works in our shop and the reason water-based works in our shop, it may not work for everyone. No one, you guys may not be foolish enough to spend thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, like, fucking things up to kind of do the research and R&D. Whereas, like, this has been something that pretty early on in our screen printing path, we decided we wanted to do. And it's not easy, but we were willing to kind of push through that. And another thing that I really like about this show is that, there's a lot of these shops, like, if you listen, like, they're always getting help from other people. We're not figuring this shit out on our own. Like, we're talking to our vendors, we're talking to other printers. And again, it's a big reason why I like listening to the show, to hear different perspectives, hear what other people are doing, because that helps us be better printers. And thank you guys. Happy anniversary.
Hey, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Also, if anyone's looking for transfers for retagging, Eric's got the goods. He actually has not transfer paper, but it's called PET, right? It's transfer film.
Yeah, it's like a plastic film. It's really, really popular in other parts of the world. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to be able to print. We do a lot of neck labels, as most of us do with transfers, right? And we used paper for a long time, but then I started looking around and seeing, like, what are like high capacity shops in like Asia or South America doing? And the majority of them are using this PET film. I don't remember what it stands for, but it's like a very flexible plastic, and it is a lot more stable than paper. And so for anybody that's ever printed, screen printed paper, that paper can shrink, it can expand, it can take on, moisture or humidity. So with the PET, it's a little bit more like climate resistant, and it works awesome for plastisol, water base, even some solvent inks as well. So
another bonus about it is that you can see through it, and so
I was going to say that too. It's just that you can line it up better because you can see through it.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's cool because, like, you can still pre-shrink it. Like you would do with paper if you're doing multicolor transfers. But yeah, it's really easy to line it up and really easy to work with. And it's very similar to the films that you use for inkjet printers for transparencies, but it accepts the ink a little bit better. And it's like, once you sort of understand the parameters of the ink set that you're using and the adhesive powder, which is really important, it's like really, really easy to do. And I highly recommend any shop just start learning how to print transfers, because it's really, really easy and you can use it in so many different areas.
So how can somebody purchase it? You're a supplier of it, so how can they get it?
Yeah, so if you just go on nightowlsprint.com, I think we have links like up on our Instagram too. There's links, or you can just message us and I'll send you the link and give you some info. I think I sent Dylan some. I didn't send you any because I forgot.
Nice. Nice.
He knew who's more important.
Exactly.
Typical. All right.
Yeah,
Eric,
it's
all right,
let's
I'm hanging up. I'm done. See you
let's
guys.
let's support friends that support us. So go check out Eric's film. It's good stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, we use it every day, and the reason that we're selling it is because we felt that all of the other options for PET or even paper, it's like you have to sort of know exactly what you're looking for, and you can't just go to your normal vendors and ask about it because they sell it because it's sold by some ink manufacturers, but they don't really necessarily know what it is. And so, like, since we were using so much of it, we said, like, other people can use this too. We're going to be bringing in a ton of it. Like, the beginning of this year, I think we ordered something like 50,000 like master sheets. And from a master sheet, we can cut it down to 4 sheets. So we have a lot of it.
Well,
we use anywhere from 100 to 2,000 sheets a day. So
I
use it a lot.
My question is, so you print whatever you print, 30 up or 40 up on that page. Did you create some sort of die cut or template to cut those quickly, or how do you cut them?
We've used everything from like a Rolo trim paper cutter to a guillotine paper cutter to now we bought like a big industrial like hydraulic cutter and we cut it down that way. But I mean, you can just cut them with scissors too. You don't need the like super fancy equipment. Just when you start getting the volume.
Yeah, like you said, when you're doing thousands, it's definitely tedious. So I just thought I'd ask how you're cutting them.
Well, me and you, Eric,
the roller trimmer works really well.
Well, me and you, Eric, have had the discussion about transfers a while ago, and then you were talking to me about PET film, and this is before you were selling it. I did exactly what you said. I tried calling like 3 different distributors to see if they had it, and nobody had it. And if they did, they said they had to get it from someone else, and that it was going to take like a long time to get to me. So, I mean, it's great now that you're selling it and offering it because I'm really stoked to be able to use it for our tags and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm stoked to get mine in the mail. I guess it will be, if you put it in there Tuesday, I should have it Thursday, Friday.
Thursday.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
like that.
Cool. Appreciate it.
And it's weird too, because like, I feel that transfer printing, there is a big market here in the US, but like, you look at what Stalls is doing or Transfer Express, and now like kind of these hybrid like DTF type printers, right? Like those are all newer, but this has existed in the US for like 20 years. But it's a weird like part of the industry. And how do you guys feel about this? Because I've been talking to a lot of people about it. I feel like when screen printing kind of first started taking off for apparel, everyone was friends and everyone like talked to one another. So you look at like Marc Coudray, Richard Greaves, Mark Gervais, like a lot of these kind of like older people that kind of pioneered a lot of things. Like they all talked, and then everyone sort of became really secretive. And the transfer process is a big part of things being secretive. And now everyone's sort of talking again. Are you on that same thought kind of?
Dylan, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel like it was one of those things where there was probably a group of dudes kind of like us that, you know, got together and figured some shit out. And then they were like, well, I don't really want to tell anyone else because we got it figured out and we don't need the competition. And then now I feel like things are going the other way where, I mean, I'm hopefully trying to be a bigger part of that is spreading the word and just getting us all to grow together. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
I don't know if those guys shared as much information when they were shops as they did when they became consultants, though. I mean, were they sharing early on always? I don't know, because the people you mentioned anyway became more industry consultants, and also just like people who speak at trade shows or people who contribute to columns to magazines and stuff like that. So I wonder if they were secretive. Like for my view on it is that I'm pretty open. So if somebody calls here or somebody has a question about screen printing, I'm okay with giving, the way we do something. However, I always preface it with, look, just because we use this emulsion or we use whatever doesn't mean it's going to work in your shop. I mean, what light table or light source do you have? I mean, this emulsion that we use might work horribly for you. And so, exactly. I mean, it's hard to give out a lot of that kind of information, specific information like that, but I don't ever fear it. I'm like, look, I can give you the recipe, but that doesn't mean that you can make and you can bake the cake.
You're not Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, and you know, I've found too in my research, especially with transfers, trying to get information, is that a lot of that information, whether it's ink technologies or paper or PET, a lot of it is like super guarded. I know that the majority of the world prints water-based, and I know a lot of the transfers are some type of water-based or silicone. But like if you go on YouTube and you try and find like videos or just Google documents on how to print water-based transfers, there's literally 1 3-minute video that comes up. That's it.
Well, the truth of it is, Eric, is I feel like you probably don't see it that much because you're one of the guys, is that for a lot of us who don't print a lot of water-based, we immediately think of a couple shops.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like we outsiders think of, you know, when we think water-based, we think of you, we think of Denver Print House, we think of, you know, a couple of other places. And it's like, to us, it's like, oh, well, they figured it out. And, you know, we're still doing other methods with plastisol or whatever else. And it's kind of like, we want to figure it out. But again, like you said, is you started with it and you just pushed through and you figured it out. For a lot of us, it's like, oh, we started with plastisol because that was the easy way in. And we're so used to it.
Like if you look up like how to print plastisol transfers too, it's the same thing where like this is where some of like I think some of the community sort of, it's like a double-edged sword where there's a lot of people that are willing to help, but not everyone is giving like the best information. And so if you look up like plastisol transfers, there's more videos, but even those are still just like, you print it, you run it through powder, you put it through the dryer, and you're ready to go. But like, no one is explaining what's actually happening. Like what is that powder doing? What is the heat doing to the ink film? How is that transferring over? And like when we started doing transfers, we started with plastisol, and we probably were doing plastisol transfers up until 2018, maybe. So, I mean, it hasn't really been that long. But again, it was like no one could really like help us understand why some things would transfer and why some things wouldn't. And we just had to, I don't know, just try and continually figure it out on our own until we realized, oh, we can print water-based, and water-based for us is just, it's easier to use than plastisol.
Well, great information. Thank you very much. We got to get going. But before I let you go, how does it feel to be the world record taper?
I feel pretty good about it. I feel that no one's going to be able to knock us off our throne, and I'm waiting for the award for that, as well as like the best advice or shop hack that was ever given on shirt shows. So anytime you guys want to send that trophy over, I'm ready.
Yeah, I tried sending you something a couple months ago, but
I think you sent it during the Texas freeze when the whole state was shut down because our energy providers really let us down. So, and you never sent it again. So thanks.
What a dick.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, fucking sends me a present. It gets returned, and then he doesn't even send it back. So cool guy.
All right. On that note, have a good night. And we'll.
You too. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you. See you.
See you, man.
All right.
You really didn't send it back out?
I forgot. I don't know. I did it, and then shit happens.
All right.
Gabe. Yeah, we're on number 9.
Number 9.
Okay. And this is all you.
All right.
buddy.
So we're gonna call our buddy Gabe for maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
What up, buddy?
What's going on?
Are you alive?
I'm alive, man. I'm fighting allergies like crazy.
Tell him. He probably can't hear me. Tell him
hold on.
what he says.
Andy's trying to talk to you, but you can't hear him.
He probably. Can't.
No.
So tell him I said God bless you.
Oh.
Is he coming in?
Yeah, no, he's here. It's just, it's hard to hear from my laptop. So he's just going to have to, if he wants to say something, he's got to say it through me.
Okay.
He wanted to say God bless you.
Oh man, I need about 1 million of them today. Thank you.
Were you just out being a real man and just mowing your lawn and it just kind of attacked you, or what?
Dude, but I was literally just walking out to move the tractor because it's the like little tow behind cart behind it is like full of water. And then you called and I was like, but now, man, I haven't had allergies in like 10 years. And then,
that's because you moved out to the country, man.
Oh my God, man, it's killing me. I'm like living on Clarendon lately.
That's awesome. So, hey, are you ready? Are you ready for the number 9 question?
I'm ready for it.
All right. His question is, what is the worst mistake you have made and how did you fix it? Asked by Tom Trimmingham of M&R.
Tom Trimmingham, man. You know, this is something I've thought about a lot, and not a lot of stuff that I've really, kind of hit pretty hard, but honestly, just in the past month, I think it might have been actually right around when you showed up at the shop. I made probably the biggest mistake and bad call of the entire time I've been in business where,
was it letting me in the door?
Yeah, I was it's letting Randall in the door, actually. No.
Right. I get that. I'm still living with that one.
No, man, we had this sweatshirt order, and we print a lot of independent SS 3000, 4500, whatever. We're super familiar with them, but this one order was about, I think it was 250, 300 of the special blend one. Mm-hmm. And it's got like a lot of polyester in it. It's just really stretchy. And we just couldn't get it to lay down good. Just a straight white print on the chest. And so they were printing it. It was cracking after it came through the dryer, and we couldn't get it to a spot where it was like decent. And I went down and just frustrated. I just made a call. I was like, you know what? It's good enough. Run it. Mm-hmm. And then I went down at about lunchtime, and they probably had like 30 shirts left. And I went over to the folding table, and I grabbed one, and I was just like, as soon as you touch it, it cracked. And I was like, oh man, like this is not good. And I made the call. I bought all new shirts. I dumped probably $3,200 into. You
have to.
You have to. I mean, that's what it comes down to, right? It's like, I can't send these to the client. This is a long-term client. Like, they treat us really good. I gotta take a big loss on this one, and that's to the day. Like, that's the biggest one I've ever done, and I think about it a lot.
What did you end up doing to fix it?
We just printed new ones.
What did you do differently though?
We tried poly ink. That didn't work at all. We never have good luck with poly ink, but we printed water-based white on it. Worked perfectly smooth. It stretched good. Everything about it was perfect. And we use water-based 90% of the time. And it's the one time we chose, well, let's play it safe on this. Let's go plastisol. And
that's hilarious, because we literally, question 8 was us calling Eric at Night Owl. And his question was, why is water-based the best ink to use, basically? So you're just making it worse for us right now.
Oh man, it worked. It saved us on that job. An HSA white, just laid down super smooth, flash print. But at the end of the day, I have probably 4 giant boxes, if not more, full of shirts with a print on them. What do you guys do with that when you do them? Just use them as tests?
Yeah, I will.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, it's the worst feeling when you make a call and then you realize, I made a bad call.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's funny too, like this doesn't have anything to do with the show, but I saw, again, it kind of has something to do with the show, and the fact that we all share our experiences and what worked and what didn't work. And, hopefully listeners learn from that and whatever else. But I was watching, again, because I watch every print thing on YouTube that I can find. Printavo did a thing with Printed Threads the other day, like the walkthrough and the shop tour and stuff.
Sure.
And Brett at the very end was talking about how they have all their shirts on carts, like right before they print them, like get everything staged and ready to go. Well, the top shirt is like an extra shirt they order that's the test print. So like right now, like Randy or Zach or whatever in our shop, when they do a test print, they're doing what you just said. Like they grab a shit shirt or whatever and they print it on. It might be a different color shirt, it might be a different blend or whatever.
Right.
But they print it and they take it into the office and get it checked with the salesperson to be like, hey, is this correct? Well, we've ran into that issue before where they go in and they do a test print and they're like, yeah, it looks good. And then they go out and they print it on the actual garment, which could be like a blend or a tri-blend or whatever. And the print looks totally different by the time it comes out of the end of the dryer.
Sure.
Because it's on a different garment. And then again, it's like what you said, is it looked good. And then you went away and you came back and you were like, oh God, these look terrible. And then you had to eat it. Well, me watching his video made a ton of sense because I was like, fuck, maybe I should do that. It's just buy one extra, like small or medium of every order. And then when they do the actual strike off, like everything's registered, everything's good, print it on that shirt and then bring it in the office. And then that's what it should look like for the whole.
So the funny thing about that is the shirt we did. I've done that since I started printing. I always order an extra medium or large something and throw it on top of the stack.
Right.
And that's always our test shirt. And unfortunately, that was the shirt that, we printed it and it was like not great. So then we moved it up, we printed it again, we tried to print flash, because what was happening is when we pulled it off the pallet, that's when it was like ripping the print to crap. And we tried to flash it before it, so that worked. Always too much tack, too much tuna. But no, man, that was the one we did the test shirt, everything, and it was just a bad call. It was the frustration where you're just like, it's good enough, let it run, rip it. And then you're like, oh man.
Well, the lesson is, we need to stop ourselves when we are at that point where we're frustrated and we just say, looks like shit, print it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? 100%. You never want to say looks like shit, print it, because you're going to feel guilty about it later and the customer's going to get it and it's going to be shitty and it's going to burn you in the end. So.
Oh my God. I just can't, it's just needing the reminder to slow down every now and then.
You went the extra mile, at the end and said, I made a bad call. It's on me. I'm sorry, but we got to reorder this and do it over again.
Yeah. And you have to. I mean, if you're not willing to do that, you shouldn't be in business because it's really the only way to go. But, yeah, man, that was definitely probably the worst one recently. And you learn by making mistakes still. No matter how long you've been doing it, you're going to make mistakes and they're going to bite you in the ass.
Yeah. No, we're always going to make mistakes. We're never going to be able to fully figure it out. So you just got to keep trying.
Yep.
But hey, man, go do some like nasal drip or, a neti pot or something.
Neti pot. I'm about to take a hot shower and just stand there and inhale steam. Oh my God.
All right. Well, we love you. We appreciate you. And thanks for taking the call, dude.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, guys. Have a good night.
Hey, we'll see you soon.
All right.
Bye. Later.
He can't hear me, but goodbye, Gabe.
He'll watch this and he'll be like, oh, thanks, Andy. Do you have an answer for that question?
I do, but we've messed up so many times. It's unbelievable. With the worst one, I don't know dollar-wise which is the worst, but the only thing that
it doesn't necessarily have to be a job. It could just be your worst business mistake. That's my answer.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's a good point. But jobs are kind of more fun. So I don't know. I think that my story is going to be of just like the greatest save. And that is we printed a bunch of shirts. I have no idea how many, but a lot. And we left something off the front. And they were like, it has to be there. And, it looks like we're going to have to reprint them. I thought that's what we were going to do anyway. But we said, well, what if we just printed you a free back?
Right.
And that's what we did.
That's a good save.
Bunch of free backs, and it was just like one color, and they were even happier than they would have been with just the front. And so we saved it. I like that save.
Have you ever printed a job where there was room to put another add to the print and then just had to laser every single shirt to add that print to it?
That's another save. Like
we've done that too.
Up and something happens or whatever, right? And something was missing on the artwork, and then you, like you just said, you just line it back up one by one.
Usually it's like the print, like the design, and you can laser to the bottom of the design, and then you add like text underneath.
Mm-hmm.
But it's.
We run this one job currently. We print it probably every 3 months, and I want to say it's probably 10 inch, 12 inch. It's probably 24 inches. I don't know. It's a couple feet tall because it's a tie. It's a character, and they have a tie that starts at the bottom of the collar and goes all the way down to the bottom of the shirt. And we first looked at it and we're like, well, we can't do that. But then we're like, wait a minute, we have lasers. And so we print the top part of the tie, and then we laser to the whatever part we
seriously
print, yeah, and then we print the bottom part of the tie. Well, it doesn't touch. That's the whole that's how we can do it. So like we're not connecting the print. You know what I mean? They don't butt up to one another.
Yeah.
There's a space.
I thought it was like a tie with stripes and you were like perfectly lining up.
It actually is a tie with stripes, but the stripes don't touch each other. So like that's how we get away with it.
So there's no like outline of the tie. It's just like stripes.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
And so we print the order twice, and whenever it comes through, and they're not the same screens. Like it's a whole different, it gets larger, because ties kind of aren't symmetrical or whatever. And so we, the lasers, like before, like, our first press didn't have lasers, and we retro kit installed them, and they save your butt, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Until the lasers on press is what makes an employee quit.
because it
accidentally shines in their eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's bad. No, let's not go there. Let's not talk about it.
Mm-hmm. We're better not to.
You're supposed to forget about that kind of stuff. Did you have a story? Were you going to tell one?
Mine.
Yeah,
I mean,
no. It was a business mistake.
Yeah, my business mistake was just getting into a partnership.
Oh,
like to me, that was my biggest thing. I mean, we don't have to go into that. We've talked about that a couple times, but for me, that was the biggest. Like, anytime anybody is about to start a business, and usually what happens is people get an idea and start a business, and then they run into a real small rough patch in the beginning, and they're like, you know what, I should get a partner to help me with that, because they just don't want to work through it. Anytime somebody's doing that and tells me about it,
profits and share the expenses, right?
And the problems. What are you doing?
I ran out of beer. Going to get another one.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Question number 10. Halfway through.
Okay.
Doesn't it make sense? Because
it's beautiful. My grandpa used to drink those, but the short ones, and you put salt in them.
You put salt in the beer?
Salt, yeah. Okay. Number 10, it's on you.
Question number 10 comes from Oops, Not Good. Do you plan on being hands-on until you can't anymore? Or do you have an age in mind that you were going to walk away or retire? I added that. I ad-libbed the last part, but...
Right. It made sense.
Okay, cool.
Honestly, for me, it's a tough one, because I would have said 5 years ago, fuck it, I'm going to be doing this forever. Like, I have no plans of retirement. I'm just going to keep going and whatever. But I don't know. Now I still feel like I want to do it for as long as I can, but you kind of realize with certain things that, at some point, do I do this forever and then just never go experience some stuff that I didn't get to do when I was younger? Or do I just at some point say, okay, this is the cutoff? Say it's 65 or 60. Do I just say, okay, now I'm going to pass it on to my kids or sell it or whatever, or give it to, Chris or Brian or whatever, and then go do some other stuff? So I don't know. We'll see when I get a little closer to there, but I would love to someday just, like me and you kind of joked about it the other day, but like just go start a small print shop on the beach somewhere and just have relaxing beach time and hang out. But I'd like to travel. I'd like to see the world. I'd like to go experience things and do some crazy shit. So,
yeah, I remember you calling me just a couple days ago saying, that's it, I'm done. Let's go open a one-color manual shop on the beach.
Hit, that's it, on the beach.
That's right. And, we forgot to ask Juan how that's going. Fuck. We had him on the phone. Should we call him back?
Mm-hmm.
I probably shouldn't.
What's your answer? Next year?
That might be too long. Maybe next week.
Mhm.
I don't know, Dylan. I think that, well, I'm older than you. And so, yeah, it's crossed my mind for sure. This takes a toll on you. I love it every day. It's even, the good with the bad with the good. It's always exciting, never boring. I think that I'd be one of those guys that said, okay, I'm going to retire at early, let's say, I'm going to retire at 55 or something. And I would miss it, like I would,
Oh, yeah.
I'd miss the action. I don't know how long I'd miss the action for. Maybe I would get used to that one hit, that's it on the beach. So I don't know. I guess it depends on what you do. Like, I don't want to retire and then just like let the dog out, let the dog in, let the dog out, let the dog in, and just,
Mhm.
I don't know.
I don't think I could.
30.
I don't think I could straight up retire and give it up. I feel like what I would do is I would say, say we say 60 years old or whatever. So I think at 60, I would be like, okay, I'm going to pass this on to a family member or somebody who's worked here forever. And then I'll be like, all right, I'm going to go travel the world for whatever, how long it is. Like, say it's a year. And then after that, I'm going to come back, but I'm going to have like just a role. I'm not going to be, overseeing everything and doing all the stuff I was doing before, but it could be like, oh, I'm in charge of marketing still, or I'm doing this or whatever. And then I can kind of come and go as I please. Like, I still feel like I have to have a hand in it somewhere.
Right. Yeah. The answer to that is I do not have an age in mind, like a specific age in mind. I think I'll know. I think I'll feel it. I hope anyway. I know when that is. And in the book we just read, Authentic, there's like a chapter on that, and I wish I remember the name of it, but it talked about like know when to walk away from it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's important because you
Well,
got
it's
to go.
funny.
You just said you got to go travel. You got to go live your life. You got to go be with family and do some other things. It's not all screen printing.
Well, it's funny. When we were just talking about that, I thought about the same thing and about how he left and left it to his brother or whatever, and then his brother thought he knew what he was doing and he tanked it. Went bankrupt, and then he had to step back in. And it's just such a baller feeling, though, to like know that you grew the company and then you handed it off and someone else realizes it's not as easy as they thought it was. And then you have to swoop back in and be like, all right. And you crack your knuckles and you're like, let's bring this home.
That'd be fun. Wouldn't it though? Like when you leave, you're like, oh, you hope it goes bad. It's like, yeah, okay, let me come fix this.
Yeah, I guess I have to come back.
All right, 11.
All right, 11. We are going to call this guy Matt Marcotte.
Yeah, I don't know. He put his number, like he messaged us his number, and he's like, please call me, guys. It'd be so awesome if you did.
You know what's funny is Gabe texted me and said, what did he say? He said, I hope you remembered to record that. Because his episode is the one we didn't record.
Oh, yeah.
And then Eric texted me and said, thanks for having me. Val said she is still waiting for her invite.
Yeah, right. Eric texted me and said, thank you for having me. So, tell Dylan to fuck off. That's weird. He shouldn't have said that.
Oh, well, I mean, that's acceptable. All right, so let's call Matt on question 11.
Oh, well, hello.
What's up, buddy?
What up, bud?
Hey, just so you know, I'm just going to start with this, that when you eventually watch this episode, we love you.
Can't wait.
Nothing was said beforehand, before you came on. It's all good.
Perfect. Why do I not believe you?
Okay. All right.
Me too.
I hope you're ready for question 11.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. So, and I know we had this discussion on our Print Legion Clubhouse, and I know you were talking about how you wanted to deep dive into it. So you were the first person I thought of when this came up.
Perfect.
So question 11 is, DTF will disrupt our industry in the near future. Will it be good or bad? Asked by Impressive Printing.
I think it will be a disruptor. I don't think it's going to be a disruptor for print shops right away. It's going to be a disruptor as in
the whole Cricut market, right? Right now, you got all the hobbyists that are like starting to get into vinyl cutting, and there's some really little printers coming out there. I think that it's really showing where the hobby market's going to start going. I mean, think about if Cricut was to start getting into being able to do direct-to-film printing and letting people have a higher-end home T-shirt printer, right? DTG is pretty expensive to get into and very limiting, right? Cotton shirts only. DTF, you're able to go onto any kind of substrate, right? Mm-hmm. Now, it's not really efficient, at least from what I've gathered talking to a couple different people able to have it. It's not necessarily the quickest. You have to wait a couple minutes to print it out. It's wet. You got to sift it. You got to bake it or like put it down a dryer or hover over a heat press for a couple minutes and then actually go to press. So it's not as quick as DTG, definitely not as efficient as screen printing, but I think it's changing a little bit about where the industry is going to be going, where the hobbies are going to start to go. And if hobbies start getting a little bit more into DTF and higher detail, it is going to slowly start having an effect on the lower end screen printing market, right? If you can go to a little pop-up pagoda in the middle of the mall and actually get a decent quality t-shirt that's similar to DTG for very cheap and effectively, you might not have to go to the print shop that has a DTG, that maybe the print shop only has a DTG to really offer the one-offs. Now more people can get into doing the one-offs without having to spend the money on a DTG. And of course, the pre-treat unit, which ends up being 95% of the issue people have with doing DTG. So I think it's going to be a disruptor. It's going to be slow before it starts to really kind of go into the mainstream part of our industry. And I don't think it's ever going to go against full-on direct-to-garment, hybrid printing, things like that. It's just not going to have the same kind of throughput. But I think we are going to see it continue to grow.
Right. And two things for the people that don't know, DTF is direct to film, which is kind of like you're printing basically.
Oh, is that what that meant? I thought DTF something totally different.
It does mean something totally different, but let's just go with this. So you're basically printing on like a glorified Epson printer on a film transparency, and it's adding powder and it's making a transfer. It's making a full color transfer, basically.
Yeah, and I mean there are bigger units that are coming out that are actually able to print it, sift it, and then bake it, and just kind of like plops that as a sheet stacked at the end.
Right. And I agree with you that I've seen, again, that I watch as much stuff on YouTube as I can. There are a ton of small clothing lines or people that are, try to start up a clothing line and get rich and show you how to get rich with a print clothing line and all this other stuff. And I've seen a lot of them switching over to just like ordering DTF stuff from like Supercolor or, Transfer Express or whatever, where I feel like back in the day, they would be like, okay, I'm going to go to Ryonet and buy like a silver press and just make a clothing line with a bunch of 1 to 2 color prints. And now they're like, all right, I'll just make a design, order from Supercolor, and then in 4 days, I can have a full color print where all I have to buy is a eBay heat press.
Yeah. Or I can go ahead and host an online store, sell however many I have, and just sit on the Supercolor transfers until the sales come through. When they're ready, press them and go.
Exactly.
So it's people can way lower overhead.
Right. People can literally come into this business with just buying a heat press for $150 to $200 on eBay.
Yeah, I mean, think about how many like team moms and like organizations, all those kind of things, they start getting into this. So I'm saying, like, if Cricut, that market, once they get into this kind of quality of what the DTF prints that I've seen can do, it's definitely going to be a bit of a disruptor in that lower end market. A lot more people are going to be able to have their hands on a lot more customizable shirt and apparel options. I mean, not just cotton, polyester blends, all that stuff, hoodies, a lot easier, because you know what it is. A lot of people, it's a 1, 2, 3 time use. They don't care how the quality is. We're snobs about like discharge, hybrid, like all those things, how it has to feel. The average consumer, they usually don't give a shit.
Right. Well, we've looked at it in our shop just because originally it started a while back because we were getting a couple customers who wanted like a 8-color sleeve print on like a t-shirt sleeve. And I was like, we could do that, but what if we could just like screen print our own transfers to do that? And then we tried that and it was just a pain in the ass. So then we were like, all right, well, we could just screen print them, or I could get like a like a Supercolor account or whatever, and just try that route. And then we tried it and we liked it because it was on like a light colored garment and it was fine. And for what it was a construction crew thing. So it was fine. Like it wasn't something that had to be amazing quality, but it was still good quality. It just is what it was. And then we had another customer who wanted to do high color count prints on windbreakers. And I was like, I don't want to print those.
Hell no. Supercolor all the way.
Right. So I was like, all right, let's just order these Supercolor transfers and then we'll do that. So for us, it works in certain scenarios where there's stuff that we could print and we could fuck it up and we could not have good results. But with the transfers, on those kind of items, it seems to work really well. So,
and full disclosure, I'm not sure that Supercolor is exactly just what we're considering a standard DTF print. I mean, from my understanding, I could be wrong. From my understanding, they're still doing a screen printed underlay with acrylic ink.
Yeah.
So it's like one step better than a standard.
Right. To me, that's just what I'm saying is instead of me getting into buying a DTF printer, like we know a couple people that have bought like a $5,000-$6,000 DTF printer. I'm just saying for me to not get into that and just buy something online as a transfer, a full color transfer. That's what I'm thinking.
And I mean, and I don't want to take away from Supercolor, but think about this. Think about if there was like in your network of printers you're friends with, one of them decides, screw it, let's do it. And now they can say, hey, everybody else, you can also hit me up if Supercolor's too busy or you just want to support a friend, I'll do it with some of your shop too.
Right.
So I think we're going to see a lot more people definitely getting into it.
Mm-hmm. Andy, do you have anything to add?
Just that his voice is very soothing. It was great talking to him. I know he can't hear me, and looking forward to hanging out soon.
He can hear
really?
you.
I didn't know you were here the whole time. Guys, I'm sitting by the phone every night just hoping for you to call, and finally it happens.
Well, we love you, Matt. Again, don't listen to the first 2 hours of this podcast.
Specifically,
so business as usual. Don't worry. I'll just go to the end like always.
Specifically, question number 6.
Number 6, yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask who the person answering question number 6 was?
I don't think there was an answer for question number 6.
Interesting. Well, if you make me cry, it's okay. I'll still love you.
All right. Well, we love you too, Matt. And again, you're one of those guys that we love and super appreciate. And anytime I have an issue or a question with something I want an opinion on, you're a go-to. And thanks for doing everything you do.
Appreciate you guys.
Love you, man. We'll see you later.
All right, love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Well said, Dylan. Way to wrap that up. Perfect.
Hey, yeah.
Good job, man. Number 12.
Number 12.
Right? Isn't that right?
Ooh,
Did I get that
we
wrong?
get to call our good buddy on this one.
Right. And he said, whatever you do, don't talk about truck stop showers.
Oh no, seriously?
I love that that's how he answered the phone.
Oh, you dirtbags. What's up, guys?
Hey, TC, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, we are almost 3 hours into this thing. And
we're on question 12.
we're only on question 12. So I don't know, man.
Oh, man. That's a long one, guys.
Yeah.
A lot of it's going to have to get edited out.
But we have a question for you, and it was asked by Tease to Please. And the question is, squeegee durometer. Well, there's no what before it. So what squeegee durometer do you prefer? I got to put it in the form of a question for it to be a question. Sorry, that was my fault.
It's okay. Two comments on that one. I mean, triple duro for most everything. Same as I think you and Dylan talk about. So 70, 90, 70. Something with higher detail or our base whites, we'll go with a higher single durometer squeegee. But also, I totally agree with you guys. We need universal colors in squeegee rubber. Holy crap.
Right?
It's frustrating. It needs to happen. We need to make that happen. Someone call someone.
Dylan,
we just need to make a petition. We need signatures.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dylan, you're responsible for so much. Like I think Independent's changing the way they ship sweatshirts, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's about it, though. Really, that's about it. So this will be your second
mixing
thing.
system.
Oh yeah. Monarch mixing system. They make bigger numbers now, which is great, right?
That's helpful. Yeah, that's helpful.
Number 3, it's going to be. I think we need to both get in on this one, like you said. Actually, the whole industry. We should get a petition going, and there just needs to be a universal system for Squeegee durometer, right? What color is what? And actually, I would love it if we could have orange designate to something, right? For the
All
first
of
show.
them.
That would be
They're just different hues of orange. So I had a customer who ordered like a couple hundred tees. It was like an 8 or a 9 color print. And they texted me this weekend and said they're missing one 3X and that customer needs that shirt. So I called Tyler and I said, hey buddy, will you fire up that DTG for me and then print me that one 3X so I don't have to set up a 9 color? And he said, hell yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, we're going to do it, man. I'm stoked. And I'm going to send you a bunch of that creep show stuff too.
Oh, hell yeah.
all right. I think that's it, right? We got the answer, so we're good to go.
Great.
That was the shortest one.
That was pretty short, so I feel like we need to continue to talk about something. So
Let's elaborate on these showers.
I want to know, like
Hey, truck stop bathrooms, man, but all reputable chains only. So you don't shower at the ones that just say truck stop.
that doesn't sound very fun.
What about like Bob's Baths or something like that?
No. You don't go. We can't go there. We get in trouble.
All right, man. Well, again, we love you. Thanks for being a part of the show so much.
No, I love you guys.
And we appreciate you.
Cool. You guys have a great evening. So good to hear from you.
You too. Thanks.
See you, man.
See ya.
Just needed to hear from Data.
It is great to hear his voice, though, right? I mean,
Yeah, for real.
that's what counts. Is that
Right.
you and I listen
Gives
to
me
the
the
recording.
gives me the fuzzies.
That's correct. I'm gonna put these back in a second. Who's our next one? What do we got?
Number 13.
Lucky 13. Whoops.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's perfect. Lucky 13 is perfect, isn't it? We
Yeah.
couldn't keep this real unless we included this next question.
Mm-hmm.
Number 13. Oh, that's you. So you read this one.
Okay. Do you need digitizing? I offer a 30-minute turnaround, no questions asked.
Yeah.
No, I don't need your fucking digitizing. Leave me alone.
Yeah, we don't. Is that how you answered him when they messaged us? I think that's what we said.
That's how I answer all of them.
No, I think we came up with the perfect answer. And that was, I don't know how many episodes ago it was. I want to say, nope, I don't remember which one, but the answer was this. We told a story about how we're supposed to say it's your mom, or no, my mom. So like if a digitizer calls and they say, hey, do you need our digitizing services? The answer is my mom does my digitizing. Because how can they take business away from my mom? And you know what's funny is that Phil, Pyre Press,
Yeah.
he texted me. So he got a digitizer, contacted him, and he used it, and he goes, "Am I doing this right?" And his answer was, "Your
mom?
Your mom does my digitizing." And he goes, "Am I doing that right?" I couldn't even get that out. It was so funny. It cracked me up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you could say either one of those. You could go with my mom does my digitizing. No, thanks. I'm good. Or
your mom.
Thanks for that one, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
Number 14.
You there?
Yeah. Is this Matt Marcotte?
Hey.
Hey, Ryan. We got a question for you. You ready?
I am definitely ready.
What is your best way to handle screens to ink to taping from press to washout?
Asked by CSI Promo.
Oh, yeah. Asked by CSI Promo. Chris at CSI Promo.
So, like the actual procedure of getting it done?
That's the way I think, right?
Say you as a shop manager are trying to make the best procedure you can think of to go from exposing to taping them up and to getting them to press and then back to wash out. What would your ideal situation be?
I think it's not exposing. I think he's saying, I kind of think it's like when it's tore off press, what's the best way to handle screens? Maybe getting the ink out, getting the tape off.
Well, I mean, so shit, it depends on the size of the shop. Because usually I utilize an individual that kind of, after we get done running a job, we take the screens off and it goes back to the reclaim area. And we have a reclaim tech kind of clean out the inks, and they go through the reclaim process. Then gives the reclaim screens to someone that's coats the screen. The guy that coated the screens takes the dry emulsion screens over to the screen tech. Screen tech burns them and tapes them, and then gives them to the ink guy who delivers them to the press.
First of all, I really appreciate you, Ryan, saying screen tech.
But having an individual to do that in every single spot is kind of tough when you only have like 5 or 6 employees.
Right. Yeah. Right now,
usually it's up to the production manager. Tape that shit up, get it to the press, and then give it to the department to move it.
Right now, we're missing a reclaim. So my idea for reclaim is now that we have auto reclaim is that the auto reclaim tech, half the day is in auto reclaim, and then the other half of the day they're in the ink pit, what we call the ink pit, and that's where we're pulling screens out of the rack that have already come off press. Right, we're taking the ink out of them and putting the ink back away, and then taking the screens over either to reclaim or like racking them for storage. And so we're missing that person. And so what happens now, just like you said, there's only so many people. And so what ends up happening is the press assistants and the press operators and stuff, they have to break, from printing, which is kind of nice sometimes if you're in a lot of long runs or whatever. It's nice to just take a moment over and go over to the ink pit, but still having a full-time person.
When you're running balls to the wall and you're kind of maxed out, having those operators just stay at the press all day, every day is definitely worth an additional salary. I like to introduce someone that is literally just a runner on the floor, but having a general purpose person, like a utility person on the floor that just runs the screens back and forth all day is huge.
Right.
Now that's something that like we're trying to do right now is our screen tech guy, basically to break up his day, is cleaning screens, burning screens, taping screens, and just kind of doing that whole process over and over again. But our press operators are basically, when a job's done, they flip up the head, they scrape the ink out, put it back in the cup, put the cup back on the shelf, and then they just take the screens, put them over by reclaim, and then set up the next job. So my bottleneck right now is, like you said, is that if the press operators can stay at the press and print all day, we're getting more stuff done in a busy season. So what I'm trying to do right now, and this is a 2-part, because I had multiple questions for you, Ryan, because I respect your word so much, is I'm trying to hire a guy right now that literally just does set up jobs, like you said, just kind of runs between the presses and helps them pull shirts or set a job up or just do stuff to keep guys on press. What would you expect like a press assistant person to do kind of as their job description? Just do that bouncing back and forth, or is there a more efficient way?
Analyze work orders, kind of be, I like to, show videos of some guys, like the NASCAR pit crew, like having guys jump over the guardrail and then anticipate the car coming in. So I like to give that sense of urgency to that utility person, that where the press assistant's running around a shop floor, he's seeing that, all right, well, that press has 5 shirts left. I'm going to make sure I got all the screens, I got the inks, I look at the work order, I know the setup. Right when that job's done, he just jumps in, just like that pit crew. And then once that's set up and the approval process is starting to happen, like you get it registered up and you get paperwork signed off, what's the next press? Go look at where everyone is at in their job, see if there's 1 cart left or 2 carts left, see where they're at, and then get ready for the next changeover. Just stay on that all day. And then if you have 4 machines that are running, or 10 machines that are running the same job, it looks like it's all going to happen at once. Like I always tell them, reach out, grab the screen tech, grab the reclaim guy, let's get some help in here. You can't do 4 setups at once; it's not going to happen. But let's utilize that. Ask for help, wave for help. Come grab me if you need to. Stuff like that. And then throughout the day, they're just kind of, watching the machines. If it's all water-based printing, they're keeping the inks nice and wet. But they're just kind of like looking at the staging lanes, seeing what's coming next. If there's going to be a problem, they kind of give the operators a heads up. But yeah, it's pretty much just a screen printer that's walking around the shop helping with those setups and teardowns all day. They're not necessarily an operator where they're running a press or loading garments.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer in that. I mean, I think that people sometimes get caught up in how fast my press is, 50, 60, 70 dozen an hour or whatever. But what's in our shop anyway, with so many setups and teardowns, what's more important is that setup and teardown. So much time is either lost or saved in that setup and teardown. And if you have an extra person like you're talking about, and like Dylan's talking about, like that can jump in and get that press tore down or set up, that's going to save you. You can probably print another job or two a day. So yeah, I love that.
The all hands on deck.
What do you do when you go into a shop and say the owner, say right now, Ryan, with you doing the consultant stuff, say you walk in and you find a way that's going to make that shop better. And the owner's job is to basically teach an old dog new tricks. Like they're guys on press that are stubborn in their ways. What do you tell them of like, hey,
the owner's job.
Yeah. Well, that's what I figured is like, do you see that working a lot, or is it kind of just like, you have to?
Well, usually there's a huge disconnect. I mean, like you guys are great because you're owners that can print, but a lot of shop owners don't necessarily know how to screen print. So that's a disconnect right there, where they're not going to be able to train their staff. As far as the old dog new tricks, it's all based on trust and respect. Like if you can gain their trust and gain their respect, show them some new stuff. I always like to use, like if I see someone that's been printing for, that's older than me and that's been printing, like there's an old Macedonian dude that I worked with for years. And like this poor guy, like he was like print flash printing every single color on a manual. It was just the one shirt was just spinning around that thing like 4 or 5 times. And, I was just like, I had to utilize that time to be like, hey man, check this out. So like you can throw the shirt on there and just, print flash print and swing it back to you. Like you don't have to go around the entire press. And it's just small stuff like that, like if I can show him that it makes it a lot easier and it's a little faster and it's easier for him, then he's gonna start listening to the next things I start bringing at him. But with the owner, I'm not like saying anything necessarily bad, but it's really hard, and I don't think owners have a lot of time to train. And they shouldn't be doing the onboarding. They shouldn't be doing the training. They should be, making sure the company's good.
Right. Let's talk real quick about your new project, Ryan. You went out on your own, and now you're doing consulting and helping people set up shops, and it's called Covered in Ink.
Yeah, so in the fall, it's called Covered in Ink Consulting. In the fall, I'm going over to Holland, so it's going to be worldwide, which is going to be awesome in the Netherlands.
Oh yeah.
I'm driving around the States right now, just, helping where I can. I had a couple shops ask for water-based training. One shop's doing a total head-to-toe, rehaul of what's going on. And other shops are having, production floor inefficiencies, which I've been able to produce some really good results so far. I haven't had anything thrown my way that I haven't dealt with in my past, so it's been super easy for me. The only downtime is, like I'm running out of shirt show episodes to listen to while I'm driving across the country.
Well, we're trying to make this one really long, so it'll probably last you for like the second half of your USA trip.
Great. @coveredin.ink.
Yeah, and that's on Instagram. And do you have a website yet?
Getting there. I'm actually working on that right now. That's why I sent you guys logos.
So go to coveredin.ink on Instagram and check Ryan's stuff out.
There you go.
Ryan, thanks for coming on. And look, I think I'll see you Saturday.
Yeah, Beavis and Butthead. Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right, man.
See you, dude.
Saturday, Andy.
All right. Good night.
Bye.
You'll see him.
Yeah, apparently he's coming through St. Louis.
Oh, hell yeah.
Holy cow. Question number 15. Let's keep this rolling.
Mm-hmm. How come you never have any designers on the show? What about our needs from Flaming Wheels Designs?
I want to formally apologize and say that we're going to do better.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I think we need to. The problem is that we have so many people that we want to talk to, and we have a list a mile long of people that we want to hit up. So, if anybody out there knows of anybody who's like really good at something or would be really good on the show, hit us up and we'll definitely take a look. I mean, there's a ton of people we already know we want to talk to, but designers are a good thing to have on here. You know, we want to learn as much as we can. So hit us up.
True.
Number 16.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel terrible about calling him right now. What time is it in London? It's got to be 3 or 4 in the morning, dude.
Seriously?
I don't know how we got here, but I'm gonna let me ask.
Send him a message first. If he's up, then
I don't even know if I can call him because I don't know if my phone's gonna work for calling that far. Because it's like the number you have to put a plus sign first. Look, if we can't talk to Danny in the UK, flippin' sweet, well, then we just want to say hi. As Dylan bends his MNR palette support, or sorry, print arm support.
This is pure steel.
You see how those arms are bent back there? Well, his all came in straight, and he just bent them. So, all right, number 17.
Okay, this is an important one. If Pure Leaf apologized to you guys and sponsored you, would you accept it? The answer is fuck no.
Number 18.
Gold Peak Gang for life. Number 18, we are going to call our good friend Amy Baker from Threadbare Print House. What up, lady?
Hello, Dylan.
Hey. You're on the shirt show right now.
Oh my goodness. This is so exciting. Hi, Andy.
Tell her I said hi.
He didn't say anything.
Oh,
he said, why are we talking to her?
Oh, I knew it.
He's a dick. Number 18, least favorite blank to print on.
Okay. I have a good answer for that.
Okay.
I've thought long and hard about the blanks that cause us the most trouble in the shop.
Mm-hmm.
And it's easiest, hands down, it's supplied goods.
Not even a brand, just any shirt that a customer gives you.
Oh, man. We've had people bring us like garbage bags full of stuff, all different styles. And this happened a couple of times where we give it all back, and then most recently someone said they were missing 20 toddler sweatpants, and our shop's not that big and we didn't lose them. Nobody took them. Like, they were just never given to us. So that was a big giant headache. And then we put in more of a procedure after that, but we've still had issues. So it's almost not it.
How often do you get customer supplied goods?
Not a whole lot, but from some of the same people. So they've kind of come to rely on that. We've created that pattern.
Mm-hmm.
So,
did you put like a terms and conditions in place to say like, we'll print what we give you, or are you like counting them to make sure now that they're all there and then telling them what you had?
We definitely, after that first, the toddler sweatpant thing, I actually, I can't really just tell the customer, like, you're lying. And so I told her we couldn't find them. And then I ran all over town to different Walmarts to get
geez. That's the worst.
black toddler. Yeah, because this was during the pandemic and none of our suppliers had them.
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't even find these black toddler sweatpants. So I replaced a few of them with leggings. And then they were mad about that. And like the whole thing was just like, I can't believe this happened. Like, I know we never had those. We did not lose them. And so then we started in a like counting procedure and making a list and having the customer sign off on it.
Mm-hmm.
And even though we've done that, we've still had it happen 2 more times where things just fall through the cracks somehow. Such a pain.
Yeah, that's awful. Yeah, we have a thing. We don't do a lot of that, but we do have it happen now and again. And I just have a thing that basically says, like, you know, when we get your goods in, we'll count them in and we'll make sure they're there. And we won't print the job unless they're all checked in. And if we printed it and gave it to you, it's because they were all here and checked in. So if you're missing something or something has a hole in it or whatever, like, that's on you. They're your goods. You're literally just hiring us for the printing.
Yeah, and we use that industry standard 1 to 2% spoilage, which, you know, we don't take on difficult prints. It's usually one color prints or something. So we usually don't even have misprints, but we do have that as a backup. Like, we're not going to go buy your sweatpants if something happens.
Run to Walmart all over town.
Do you ever get people bring you like really nice Nike jackets or something that has like a price tag on it that's $50 and you're like, oh, this is going to be so stressful?
Yeah, no, exactly. And that's what I mean and that's why we kind of stopped doing a lot of contract stuff, is just because people would be like, hey, I got a 50-piece order for you. It's real easy. It's just like a one color print. And then you open the box and it's like, some of them are rayon and some of them are a Nike polo. And the print is a left chest, but there's a Nike logo on the left chest. And, you know, and then there's rain jackets and some umbrellas. And it's like, what the fuck did you send me?
Oh, yeah, the umbrellas. We've never had anyone bring us umbrellas. We have had another rule we had to make. People would bring us. So we live out here in the Northwest and everybody's very eco-conscious, as you should be. But a trend, people want to go upcycle clothing, and so they want to go to the thrift store and bring us bags of t-shirts from the thrift store, and and it doesn't matter how clean they are, but something about the detergents of worn clothes, if you send them through your conveyor dryer,
it reeks.
It's awful.
Yeah.
You're like, well, printers get nauseous, so we've had to also say no to that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, what's your favorite shirt to print on? I just gave you a loaded question, Amy.
Well, it's different because my favorite shirt to print on would be different than my favorite shirt to wear. Because my favorite shirt to wear, you didn't even ask.
Your favorite shirt to wear is what, like a G5000?
No, actually, I do kind of like a Gildan sometimes. But no, I really like the all-made because they make a women's size that actually fits, and that's kind of hard to find in blanks. But I don't love printing on tri-blends as much. So I really like printing on the AS Color 501. They feel so nice, and they're ring spun, but they're heavier. They're just so really
heavier weight tees always seem nicer to print on. Like, I don't know, just anything that's like a good flat surface heavy tee feels nice. Yeah,
and I think because we're usually doing discharge inks on a black AS Color, they seem crisper. They seem to hold up through the wash better.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had an answer for this, which I feel like is the same answer that just about everybody has. My number one least favorite is digital camo.
Oh yeah, I forgot that.
or any camo. Red polyester, burnout tees because the ink goes through and on all your pallets. Mesh shorts, windbreakers, and anything with waterproofing.
So you basically just want cotton t-shirts?
I want you to give me one color prints on cotton t-shirts.
Yeah, is that too much to ask? Why are people so needy?
What the hell? It makes total sense.
People are so demanding.
Mm-hmm. Well, we really appreciate you taking the call, Amy. We love having you on the show and love and respect you and your shop. So thanks for being around.
Thanks so much for doing what you do, you guys. I can't wait to hear the podcast.
Well, it's going to be 9 hours long, so you'll enjoy it. Because right now we've been recording for like 3 hours and 10 minutes, and we're on question 18.
Okay, I'll set aside the month of June to get through it.
Okay, cool. Sounds good.
Okay, have fun.
See you later.
Bye.
I think, is that our last call?
Yeah, it is our last call.
We did it. Hey. Thanks
everybody who we called. You guys are fucking rock stars and we appreciate you.
Yeah, and we didn't test it first, but you know what? It worked. I mean, she couldn't hear me. Anybody you called, they really couldn't hear me. But on my end, it worked out. I got lucky, you know. And but we made it work, right?
Yeah.
I think that I don't know.
I think we can rip through these last couple questions, and then we'll give you our shop hacks, and then we'll call it a night.
Let's do that. Ready?
Right.
Number 18. No.
Number 19.
Number 19. What is the answer to the ultimate question? How do you get sales and big clients?
And that
Dylan?
question was asked by us.
Specifically Dylan at Upstate Merch.
It was me. I asked that question.
So
I just feel like, well, I do have an answer. And I feel like a lot of people, especially younger shops, always ask that question. They're like, how do I get this? How do I grow my sales and all this other stuff? And you can watch all these YouTube videos and hear all these gurus talk about the best way to do this and do that. And a lot of them just want to take your money. I feel like the real answer is to just do what you're good at. Like find a lane, find a niche, work in that niche and that lane. If you're really good at, if you're Andy and you're, in a great area and you have a lot of contacts with, their local teams and schools and businesses in that area, then like focus on that. Don't try to like do everything. I feel like for us, we found the stuff that we were super into and the stuff that we were already knowledgeable about and had nothing to do with screen printing. It just had to be what we were actually into as a business. And then you can talk to those people and just shoot the shit for, you can call that customer and talk to them for an hour and a half about stuff that has nothing to do with shirts. And then the last part of that conversation is, oh yeah, like I forgot you wanted to order some shirts. Those are the customers you'll have for life. The other part of that is how you get the big customers is just talk to people and, you got to know somebody who knows somebody. That's the true answer to getting great big customers is you make friends with somebody who's buddies with the head of ordering for some department. You don't just cold call a big company and get a big order. It's not how it works. That's my answer to that question.
Good answer, man.
Okay. Number 20. How has this podcast affected your own businesses? Asked by Elite Shirts.
Wow, this podcast has affected our business in some ways, but my life in more. I would say that, how has it affected Shirt Kong? Well, one thing is that I'm doing some printing for some other shops. I mean, that didn't know of me before. So if they run into, let's say they run in a shop with a 6-color press or an 8-color press runs into a multicolor job that they can't do, then they call us, and that feels pretty cool. Like if they're near us, let's say, it makes sense anyway, then they'll call us. And so I need to come into that a little bit because that's happened to us too with a couple printers and that listen to the show. And it's awesome that they come to us and can trust us to print stuff, but it's also fucking terrifying. Anytime you have to print for another print shop that you're like buddies with or friends with, anything can go wrong. Anything can happen. And the worst thing that can happen is you print a job and then get it to them and they're like, wow, these look like shit. Not that happens, but it's terrifying. Sometimes I think like I want to walk back to the presses and say, hey, this one's TLC, like make sure this fucking looks awesome.
Right.
But I don't want to do that either because then, well, one, it puts pressure on like, oh shit, we got to make sure these look awesome. And also I shouldn't have to do that, right? Like
you shouldn't have to.
All of the orders need to look awesome, but you're right. All of a sudden there's just extra pressure of like, they're going to probably get the shirts in and inspect every inch. Like,
that's the thing is shit happens and you never know what order it's going to happen to, but our luck, it always happens to the ones that are supposed to get TLC. Mm-hmm. And like you said, a regular Joe customer could get those shirts and be like, yeah, these look phenomenal. But then another printer is going to be like, well, this is, I specifically said 2.36 inches down and this is 2.39 inches down. And, the color and whatever. It's just, we haven't had any problems, but it's just funny to like, when you get those orders, there's a little bit of anxiety that comes with that.
The biggest thing, though, that how it's affected us is just the connections, you know? I mean, being connected to so many other shops and so many other suppliers and ink manufacturers now. If we ever get into jam, it's awesome to be able to pick up the phone and call somebody and get some answers, you know? And so that's pretty neat. That was sort of like an unintended consequence. So like when when we started this podcast, like I figured, oh, well, we'll talk to some people and we'll meet some friends, and that's that pretty much. You know, I had no idea if we would do one podcast or 10 or 40 or 1,000, you know. I don't know. I didn't know at the time. And I think that I was okay with, even if no one listened, I was okay with just talking shop to a different printer every week.
To me.
Even two. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? And so we were kind of doing that anyway, and we just started recording. And so everything now is just gravy, really, you know? And so, yeah. How has it affected your shop?
For me, it's just like tons of knowledge. Like it's the ultimate way to learn about your craft is to just talk to other dudes and dudettes that do it every day. Like a lot of shops, the thing about screen printing is you can get into it super easy. You can go buy a cheap press. You can learn to screen print. You can stay in your house or your garage or move to a warehouse with just learning shit on your own and getting there. But the problem is that if you never talk to all the other shops that are doing it too, you won't learn anything that you just didn't stumble on yourself. So just talking to all these shops, talking to you every week. And then like, say with you, like I could just call you and be like, hey man, like I'm doing this thing. And you're like, yeah, I did that 2 years ago or whatever. You know what I mean? Here's how to get past that. Or here's what I learned. It's like, it saved me 2 years of R&D. Like you already figured that out. So here's like, not that necessarily that your answer is like what should happen, but it's kind of like the roadmap to try this and see what results you get. So I feel like talking to every single person we talk to, I learned something. Like no matter who we've talked to, good or bad, we've learned something. And between
not about screen printing, it's about just life, you know, because I don't know, people share a lot. You know, we don't know when we all of a sudden sign in to Zoom how it's going to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've learned that.
And isn't it cool that we go off on tangents and then just start talking about favorite movies or
showering at a truck stop?
Yeah, exactly. So there's lots more than just shop hacks and business lessons. There's also life lessons.
Yeah.
I think that's it, right? Is that 20 questions? Did we do
that? Is our 20 questions.
Wow.
I'd have no idea how that's going to come out because there was a lot of times we stopped and paused, and Chad's going to have to edit out a lot of dead space. But I think all in all, they were all really good. Everybody we called was really good.
It was incredible.
It was good. It was a good time.
Yeah. Before we go into our top 10, I need to just stand up and stretch my legs, dude.
Go ahead. I actually got to take a piss. So
okay, good. All right.
Go run around your shop a couple times.
Oh. I had to get rid of that bow tie because it was giving me a headache.
Oh.
All right. So
we're back. Yeah.
Stretch. Holy shit, dude.
All right. So to preface the top 10, we have horrible memory, and without going back through every episode and listening to all the shop hacks that exist, I just went by, these are my top 10 that I use in my shop and I like, and I wish, I know there's a ton I'm forgetting.
I don't get any credit for any of this. I mean,
No, you, sure. Me, us, we.
Oh, well, you said me. So say this again. Okay, so here, let's just do the drum roll for this motherfucker. Ready?
Okay.
That
top
was kind of weak.
You want to do it again?
Let's do it. Ready?
Okay.
Your whole shop was shaking. Is there an earthquake there? All right. So yeah, Dylan, you just apologized how this top 10 list of the top 10 shop hacks of our first year. I know there were so many and they all were so good. We can't use them all.
We forgot half of them.
Like, yeah, we forgot. Like we're pieces
we're
of shit.
We're only human.
Mm-hmm. We're only human. But we have assembled 10 shop hacks that we thought were worthy and notable, and here they are. Ready? Number 10.
Yeah. Number 10, we heard from our good buddy Justin Lawrence, Wild Boys, from Oklahoma Shirt Company, was get a pallet jack that has a built-in weight scale so that you know how much that pallet of shirts weighs for when you do your freight costs.
Right. And for us, like we like pallet jacks, we like ours to be pink. And he said that you can not order them in custom colors, but you can spray paint them in case you have a certain.
Well, the hard part was is before we knew about that, and we still have to order one. It's something I really want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But we would just have to wait. Like if we had a pallet of 1,000 shirts or whatever, we would have to weigh each box, put all the weights together, add them up, and be like, okay, this plus the pallet is what the total weight of this thing is. But with the pallet jack, you could just jack it up, and it's like, okay, cool. This is 9,000 pounds, or 9,000 pounds, 900 pounds, or whatever it is. Then you know what to use.
Number 9. It comes from Danny at Flippin' Sweet, who we were supposed to call and chat with, but we ran out of time.
But it's like 4 a.m. there.
Yeah, that's the right answer. It's just too late there. So
Danny, we love you.
Danny, we do love you. And he gave us this number 9 shop hack, which is to put bumper pads on your manual press so that the squeegees can rest on, or magnets, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that, everybody knows and hates and dreads when you bring that frame down and the squeegee falls in the ink. That's
or like on my Sidewinder, we put it against the off contact knob, and it's just bouncy enough that if you're not paying attention and you put the squeegee handle down and it bounces off the button and then goes into the ink.
Yeah.
That's why he had pads put on there, like felt pads, so that way when the squeegee came down, it just went against it, or a magnet, that it wouldn't fall back in the ink. So it was
100% absolutely. Yeah. Number 8.
Number 8, use business cards for ink scraping. That was from Quint Noble at Inkfinity, which is something that we do. Instead of ordering those ink scrape cards, we just order like 5,000 or 10,000 business cards, just blank, or you can put your logo on them or whatever you want it to say. And they work great. We just get the ones with the, the clear coating on them or whatever, so they're a little more durable. And we scrape ink out of screens or off squeegees or whatever with those. They also work really good. We have a ton of them over at the ink mixing station. So if we're taking, a little bit of this ink and a little bit of that when we're making Pantones, we use 2 cards so we can scoop and scrape with another one. So they work really good. I thought
it was that you're supposed to use like the business cards of people you don't like. Like we have 2 giant no soliciting signs on our doors, yet we have people come in and they drop out their business cards, and I thought that it was really satisfying, gratifying to just use
especially when they're like really expensive business cards too, like they're aluminum or they're made of leather,
embossed.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Number 7 came from Eric at Night Owls, and that is to put food coloring in your palette adhesive.
Mm-hmm. Right now, it's pretty much clear, and you spread it on a white or off-white colored palette tape, and it's kind of hard to see and make sure you hit all the areas and all the surface of your palette. So if you put a little bit of food coloring in, you can make sure you get it all.
Plus it makes it taste just a little bit better. Number 6,
no.
Using a sifter for discharge activator comes from Ryan, who we just spoke to.
Mm-hmm. So I know that when we have discharge activator, sometimes there's clumps in there, and then you go to try to put the powder into the discharge, it doesn't all mix well because there's some clumps. So I saw him putting activator into a sifter like you were doing with flour at home for baking, and you just sift it through, and it gets rid of all the clumps, and you don't have any issues when you mix it together because it's clump free.
Beautiful.
Number 5.
Nope.
Right?
Yep. Yeah. Number 5. Sorry.
Number 5, squeegee cutters. My buddy from Lancaster Print House showed me this one. The ones I have are actually, because I get to ask this all the time, are called the All-Star Innovations 3-in-1 power cutting tool. It basically looks like snips or like vice grips, but it's got a flat piece and a razor blade. And so if you you buy a roll of squeegee blade and you want it to be 16 inches long, mark it with a marker and then take the cutters, and it's one pull, cuts the squeegee right down the middle. For years, we used like a razor blade and kind of like scored it until it went all the way through, and it's super annoying. But these cutters, it's like one snip, perfect. So I love those things.
One snip, that's it.
One snip, that's it.
Number 4. Oh, this is a good one. I mean, this went around the world and then back again.
It was on Facebook for quite a while.
I got so many messages over this one. Alex from Easy Way said he gave the shop hack of raising your dip tank off the ground. This is for people in cold environments. If you're in Arizona, it doesn't matter so much. But what
here in
I
the
found
north.
out, yeah, so I found out about it because with our auto reclaim, you have to send chases through without any screens in it a few times. There's like startup recipes, and so that is to get all of that chemical warm. Well, same thing goes for a dip tank that's sitting on concrete in the winter. That chemical is too cold, and as it heats up, it's way more effective. And so that was
basically like Alex said, and it makes total sense. It's like, do you wash your dishes with hot water or cold water? Like, is it easier to get things to work in hot water versus cold water? So here again, like we're in New York, so the concrete's cold. Like even right now, like it's kind of cool out and the concrete's probably super cold. Just putting the dip tanks up on cinder blocks, or we have them on industrial roll carts so that we can roll them around. Just getting them off the floor, and so that they're more like room temperature rather than like cold from the floor, helps the chemical reaction happen better in the dip tank. So
yeah, and besides just getting it off the floor, there's also that option to buy a heater, a water heater.
Mm-hmm. Where they were water trough heaters for farmers?
Yeah, wasn't it for farmers with their livestock or cattle, right? So
yep. So you just drop the rod
Amazon,
in,
right?
Mm-hmm. Or you can use the heated blanket things. Those are on there too.
Right.
Number 3, Mr. Clean Magic Erasers. We got that from Tyler from TC. It was funny. He was talking about it, how he had a supplier that he was trying to get dehazer from, and this was during the pandemic, and they didn't have any. So they were like, hey, you should just try Mr. Clean Magic Erasers. Like, oh, we shouldn't tell you this, but try Mr. Clean Magic Erasers. And I was like, no way. So I ended up ordering some on Amazon, and sure as shit, like we had a bunch of stains that had black water-based stains in them. And we took the magic eraser, dunk it in water, wring it out, scrub the screen, and it took the haze right out of the screens. So you can buy like a value pack, like a big thing of them on Amazon, and they work really good and they last quite a while. So and they're not like harsh, so you don't have to wear like gloves, or you're not spraying stuff in the air. They work really good.
Incredible. Number 2, you ready? Number 2 comes from Lucky Prince, although I think it came from many others.
But Lucky Prince showed us.
But Lucky Prince, we witnessed with our own eyes because we were in disbelief, and that is baby wipes, specifically Target.
Target brand baby wipes.
Right.
Which is funny because I didn't believe it really being that great, and then we saw Lucky Prince do it, and I was like, all right, well, yep, that works. And I don't know what's in baby wipes, but it takes the ink right off a spatula, takes ink off everything. I've been working in a dark room for a month or more now, and I have a pack in there that I wipe emulsion off of stuff. Like if I get emulsion on anything, I wipe it right off. What else works really good too, especially with the Unicoat, is like if I'm coating screens and I have to go like take a piss and come back, and the very edge of the scoop coaters dry up, you can take a baby wipe and just wipe the edges of the scoop coaters. That's and cool. There's no more like dried up emulsion on there. Yeah. I've done that a couple times. So yeah, plus baby wipes work really good.
Yeah. And if you like have Taco Bell for lunch or something and you make a little mess,
you just got to reach on the back of your pants. You can do a little quick cleanup.
Yeah. You always have them handy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Number one, the number one shop hack.
It's kind of cheating because I put it on there because it's mine.
It's so pitiful. Like, and I want everybody to know that Dylan had to have his shop hack as number one. And we haven't argued in 52 episodes.
Mm-hmm. The reason why, when I made this list of shop hacks, I thought of the things in my shop that I use the most and the things that helped us the most when we figured it out. And I'm not the one who invented this by far. I heard it from somebody, I don't remember what, but it was years ago, that said I should use different pallets for my water-based glue and pallets for using for fleece. So basically before we had, your press comes with your set of regular 16 by 22 pallets or 24 pallets or whatever they are. And you're using water-based glue, and then that dreaded hoodie order comes through, or there's a job that has, some hoodies on it. You have to bring out the web spray the pallet, put the hoodie on, and then the pallet's basically ruined for water-based adhesive. So you have to take the pallet tape off, re-pallet tape the pallet, and start over. So what we did is we went and bought a whole nother set of pallets for the press, and one is only used for water-based and one is only used for hoodies. So changing pallet tape takes a ton of time. So to have two separate pallets, it's way faster to change your press out on pallets than it is to change pallet tape. So for us in my shop, that was the biggest thing that like saved us a ton of time and energy and everything. So for me, that was my number one, and I don't know who to credit it to because it was forever ago, but that one made the biggest change.
Well, and vice versa, you could, like we're doing now, because fleece season's basically over, and that is we're using it for performance. Mm-hmm. So as you know, 100% polyester garments, if you're printing on them, let's say you're printing white ink on them and there's a bump on your palette or fabric, you know what I mean, that gets left behind, strings, it'll show in the print. And so we like having now a set of palettes that are just completely perfect, 100% perfect. Like, and which is the opposite, like the polar opposite of a fleece palette, which is 100% destroyed. So you could use them both ways. If you're in Arizona, you don't really care maybe, or Florida so much about fleece, although I guess they do at certain, I guess they do have.
They still get cold.
They still get cold, but not now. It's warm. And so if you have that, in other words, like you don't have to have that extra set of pallets sit around half the year.
Use them for your poly stuff.
Boom. Roasted.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Those are our top 10.
Yeah.
And again, there's a ton of other really good ones that we totally forgot about. And we made this list today. So sorry. Yeah. These are the ones that we like right now.
Exactly. So now it is the time for quick takes.
Did you make quick takes?
I did. Yeah. So I have, how many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3.
We said 5.
4. I have 4. And then I have the final question, the signature question. Mm-hmm. So I have 5. I technically have 5.
Do you have fireworks going off outside of your shop?
No.
There are a bunch of fireworks going out, or there's a giant like gun battle happening outside right now.
I hope it's fireworks.
I think it's fireworks for Memorial Day.
So how about you do these quick takes? What do we do here?
1 and 1, back and forth.
I like it. Okay. Yeah. You go first.
Okay. Christina Lewis, who I love on Instagram, gave us this idea, and hopefully Andy doesn't hate it. was the Fuck, Marry, Kill. Frank, Aaron, and Alex. Frank from GSF, Aaron from Monarch, and Alex from Easyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had a really good answer for this, which is not bad.
It's all bad, but we have a safe answer. I think it's the safest answer for this.
Do you want me to say it, or are you going to say it?
No, you say it.
Okay. Make love to was Aaron because he's so handsome. Mary was Frank because he's a provider and he's just a great listener. And kill was Alex because Easy Way probably has some kind of elixir that will bring him back to life.
Perfect. Right?
Right. So that was actually a listener question that I really wanted to have in there, but I didn't know if Andy would let me. So now it's in quick takes.
Right. So my first one is one meal the rest of your life, Chick-fil-A, steak night, or wings.
Well, I feel like they would all kill me. But if I had to eat one every day, I would probably say steak night. Chick-fil-A would be second. The safest one that would probably not kill me would be wings because I'm just eating tiny bits of chicken every day.
I think steak night sounds.
Steak night would kill me the fastest.
Honestly. Really? Because you have other stuff with the steak, right? You
well, red meat. Just eating red meat every day. A 16-ounce sirloin of red meat every single day.
Yeah, but Chick-fil-A is probably fried. So I'm thinking the steak night, you live the longest. If that's what you're going for. But
I'm not going for longevity. I'm going for tastiness every day. And I think steak night would be the best. All right. If you could keep only 5 possessions, what would they be? And I'm not talking about people. I'm just talking about actual possessions.
Like for survival? You know,
just if the world was ending and you had to hop on a rocket ship to go somewhere and you could only bring 5 possessions with you, what would they be?
I'm going to keep a car. That's good, right? I need transportation. Fuck off. These are my 5.
All right. Fuck off. I feel like you're going the survival route. I just want to know what your favorite 5 items are that you can't live without.
Oh. Dylan, so many. Are you going to give your answer too?
No, I'm looking for yours.
Okay.
If you went home right now and had to grab 5 things, what would they be?
I grabbed my iPhone because I want to be able to communicate.
Right. Okay.
My favorite pair of shoes, which probably are the ones I have on right now.
Your knife.
A knife
for protection.
No.
A pistol.
Sure. A knife, but I'm going to definitely choose a handgun.
Right.
Because here I am back to survival. I don't know if it's my favorite thing. It's not my favorite thing.
But your favorite thing is surviving. So
my final thing is a piece of bark off of a tree from my dad's cemetery. There's a tree right next to where he's buried, and I used to, as a kid, I'd always peel the bark off of that tree and put it in my pocket. And so I carry around for good luck. They're like really, really smooth now. And so
that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a real heartfelt thing that you were going to bring, and you nailed it. So good job.
My next quick take for you is, if you saw a Sasquatch, would you shoot him or her, walk up and say hi?
I don't know, because there's a lot of different ways that Sasquatch is portrayed as either being like a nice protector gatekeeper or fucking crazy murder man, or it's going to like lure me to its cave to like make love to me. So I thought about this because my family's property is massive. And when we go hunting in the fall, there is I'm way out in the middle of nowhere, totally by myself. And I think if I saw one, I would probably just want it. I would want to see it and have it not see me. I don't think I would walk up to it and be like, yo, dude, what's up? Because it probably wouldn't want me to do that.
So you see it and you freeze, basically.
I would love to be in a tree stand and just see one in the distance and then have it walk right under me and by me so I could get like a full, I saw it, it exists, I'm happy, it's a thing.
You don't say anything. I
don't want to be like, yo, dude, like, I don't want that.
All right.
Definitely not shooting it though. Okay. Is it caramel or caramel?
Well, I say caramel because that's lazy. It's quick, like a slang.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, I think,
like if you were ordering from a fancy restaurant, like you walked into a restaurant. Well,
hold on, you said
$200 meal. Yeah, if you're walking into it, because it's the same. It should be the same answer. You don't say the lazy one for some people and then the fancy one for somebody else. If you're walking into a place where it's like a $250 plate, what do you ask the waiter for? Is it caramel or caramel?
I've never said caramel.
I have never said caramel in my life either. All right, so it's caramel.
Forgot I asked. I forgot I wrote this. Okay.
Spit it out.
I think I typed it wrong. Hold on. So would you rather be the last person in a human centipede or drink a whole gallon of Pure Leaf?
I would rather suck someone's ass in a centipede than drink a whole gallon of Pure Leaf. As long as the first person in line in the centipede isn't drinking Pure Leaf, I'm okay.
Right. Because that would be worse than just going straight to the Pure Leaf.
I'm glad you thought of that. When is the hardest you have ever laughed in your lifetime? Like hardest you've laughed. And what was that about, I guess?
Probably to a movie. I'm trying to think. Like I've also seen a lot of stand-up comics, but hardest I've laughed, I don't know. For whatever reason, I keep thinking of Borat. Just the first time I saw that, I laughed pretty hard.
When he goes, "What is this?" That's cheese.
It was just hilarious. It was, I don't know.
I
don't know if that's it though.
I have a story real quick that we always talk about. And when I laugh like real, like if it's something super funny, I like get a headache because my jaw hurts and like I laugh super hard. But there's been twice in my life when I've laughed so hard that like my legs give out. Like I can't stand, I drop to the ground. And we always talk about this trip to Canada where we went and saw Gustafsson and Jones fight for the UFC in Canada. And Brian, who works with me and who is also one of my best friends, and Justin, who used to work here, and a couple other buddies ended up going. And Brian is like super particular about everything. And like, everything has to be a certain way. So we got to the hotel room and we only had 2 beds. So Brian had brought like a sleeping bag and like everything. And he like, for like an hour, like meticulously put his bed on the ground, got it perfectly laid out, everything. And Justin, before we even left Whitney Point, was drinking and he was fucking hammered. And like we got like an hour in and he had like titty tassels on and like he was just drunk. So we got to Canada and we went to like somewhere to eat and he was just like one gulping, pounding beers. And we ended up having to walk him back to the room and he was like puking so hard his like nose was bleeding. And like we just like, all right, it's like early still. So we like put him to bed, like put him in his bed. And we went out and did stuff all night long, came back, and Brian was like kind of like fearing that like what was Justin doing in the hotel room. And I said something like, "Oh, I really hope he's like in your bed. Like no way this would happen," but just totally joking. And we walked in the room and turned the light on and Justin was like fully curled up in Brian's sleeping bag. in the corner of the room. And I like instantly, like 1 millisecond went by. I fucking dropped to the ground. Like my legs gave out and I was laughing so hard. Like it's not as good as if you lived it, but it's just the way that whole night went and how ridiculous it was to come in and find him like fully curled up in Brian, and just knowing Brian's like, that was his bed. And he was just so like OCD about it that super, super drunk Justin was probably like pissing his pants in Brian's sleeping bag. It just made me laugh so fucking hard. All right. Next question is yours.
Mine. Okay. So you're going to space for a year. Would you bring me or your wife?
You work trip.
Don't let her listen to this.
I don't care. She could listen to it.
All right. You got one more?
Yeah. If you could switch shops with any printer, who would it be and why?
Well, it would be you, Dylan. I would definitely
No. Come on.
No. I would want to, for sure it would be yours.
Okay.
Because it's, it's very different than mine. You know, like you have this niche that you print for. You don't have all the walk-in stuff. And you have like this really great culture. And so I would come in and I wouldn't try.
You could just sit down and relax in my office.
I could watch YouTube videos.
You could watch YouTube all day and do nothing.
Yeah. So like you and I switch, like it's wife swap or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, like you come here and I come there. Is that the question?
Okay, sure. I'll do it. How awesome would it be if you left your place and then came to mine and I went to your place and I just like whipped it into shape and it was so relaxed and everything was getting done and I was still sitting in your office watching YouTube videos?
And I come to yours and I try really hard and I just fuck it up worse.
Right. Like everything starts to go downhill.
Falls apart. Yeah.
No, you would whip it. You would do some stuff here to make it different.
Yeah, honestly, it would be pretty cool because we've even talked about that, you know, just to trade. It's almost like having a consultant in for a little bit and, you know, because you don't see it. You don't see it as an outsider does. And so I think
we talked about even like, say, for instance, like me and Randy came to your shop and we're there all week. Like we just shadowed your guys, or like he printed on press with your staff and used your rules and your guidelines and just like learned your ways for a week. And then the following week or later on, like you and Kyle or something like came here and just like shadowed us for a week and saw how we did everything. Like imagine the stuff that we would pick up on.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You
like
mean just to go to a shop and learn from them. Don't like tell them, like not bar rescue, like, hey, you guys need to change this.
No. I'm just saying like go there and just like say like Randy, for instance, like if I just gave you my printer for a week and like you were like, all right, print on that press all week. Like you could see like how he does things.
Exactly.
And then like you're just getting people in different houses to see like, how do you do things?
That'd almost be even better, you know, because you would take back what you learned and apply what you want to your shop. You know, obviously not everything or whatever, but
you could see the plus and minuses.
If somebody came here, like if you came here and you're like, oh, you need to change these 3 things. For all you know, we could have tried to change those in the past, and for some reason it didn't work, you know?
Right.
And so it's almost better even just to come here, chill for a week, and then go back, take back what you've learned, and vice versa. You know what I mean? That'd be great. Yeah, great idea.
I think so.
Final question, right?
Is it the final question?
It's the final question.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah, it's I don't know. We're 4 hours, I think, in.
Sure.
You've had 1 sip of Cold Peak. It looks like. What's for dinner? Because I definitely am hungry.
Well, I was gonna make some marinated chicken and what are they? Brussels sprouts. But it's 10 p.m. So I don't think I'll be doing that. I will probably go home and have like buffalo chicken tenders. And
like they're frozen and you microwave?
Yeah, like Tyson chicken buffalo tenders or something. I don't know, something. I'll have to find something in the freezer to make because there's no way I'm making a full dinner. The nice thing is tomorrow's Memorial Day, so tomorrow we get to have a whole nother day off. So
That's
it feels
true.
like a weekend for me right now.
And you and I both are going to be probably doing some grilling, but also going to be thanking our veterans because that's a big deal. My best friend in high school, he went to the Marines, and I always respected him for that. And I thought about it when he did that. Like, man, I should just go with him. This would be kick ass, right?
I've thought about it.
And
I thought when I was younger about just going into the military and doing something. That's what I would have done probably if I didn't start screen printing. I would have just been like, oh, I'm going to try to like go to the Marines or something. I was also like 150 pounds lighter back then and in shape.
I think we all should. I think guys and gals both should go to the military for, I don't know if it's a year or 2 years, maybe not 4 years because that's a long time, right? But what if you went for a couple of years and it was like some sort of like basic training and you learned?
Well, that was my thing is you could learn a skill. Like you could learn, whatever, and you would get
serve the country.
Right. You would get that whole thing. So yeah, no. Do you guys have like parades and stuff there?
I think so. I saw a lot today. There were a ton of planes flying over, like there was an air show somewhere, so
we have one that goes right through town that happens every year. Like they start in the cemetery where my grandparents are buried and my grandfather was in the military. So like we'll go there, they'll do the whole like shooting the guns and do the whole thing. And then the parade goes through town and then it ends at the American Legion where they do like, free hot dogs and hamburgers for everybody. Cool. So it's just, paying her some respects and then hanging out.
Right on. Well, we did.
What are you doing for dinner?
Oh, I'm kind of like you. I had other plans, but I'm going to go home and just whatever's right there.
Anything that's available.
Right.
But hey, man, for real, I'm so glad we did this. I'm so glad we did Shirt Show and how it's doing and that we get so many people that listen and hit us up and talk about it. And dude, how many people have hit us up and told us that like it changed things? Or we had people during the pandemic that hit us up and were like, I was thinking about closing my doors. And then I listened to a bunch of Shirt Show episodes. And now I'm inspired to keep going. Like that shit's cool. So
super cool.
That alone is like, we can't not do this. It's awesome.
Yeah. And I don't know. I feel like you and I have grown a little closer. And I think that we should do a whole nother year of this.
At least a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Right. I want to do a big thank you to Chad.
Dude. Yes. Because he's the unsung hero.
Mm-hmm. For real though.
He's gonna have to go through 4 hours of this.
Me and Andy,
or more.
What you guys don't realize is me and Andy get on here and we just shoot the shit and we stumble and we fuck things up and we take piss breaks and we just say stuff and talk to each other for 4 hours. And Chad gets on here, edits the whole thing down, makes pre-games, makes clips, does the whole thing, hits up people for us to set up the interview, does the emails, everything. We just are the assholes that get on camera. So a lot of props to Chad.
Thank you, Chad. And also Chad does the intros every week and the
every
outros.
Episode. Yeah. So thanks, bud. And thanks to everybody who listens, especially these, apparently now every episode's 3+ hours long. So if you're an avid listener and you listen to me and this shithead speak for 3 hours every week, that's crazy.
Yeah, sorry, Tony, you don't have the record anymore. Shattered it.
We wanted to shatter our own record. So,
all right, man.
Hey, go home and have your bologna sandwich.
Go home and have your chicken tendies.
My tendies.
What'd you say? Is that what it was?
My chicken tendies. Mm-hmm. I will in about an hour after I'm done taking all this stuff down.
Yeah, same here. Like I'm gonna, like it's gonna have to convert. When we end this, it converts, and I never like to leave while it's
Until
doing
it's
that,
done.
in case, right? Yeah, because like I don't know, it scares me. But while I'm waiting, I got clean up around here.
Okay. Hey,
And you
cheers,
usually
bud.
call me.
To another.
I got a little bit of this left. Cheers. We didn't
Cheers.
cheers. You cheered me. There it is.
Love you. See you later.
Love you too.
Hey up lads, just a quick message. I've just spoke to Dylan and he mentioned that you were going to call in last night just to check in and see how things are going, which is really awesome of you. I really appreciate that. Like good of you to think of us. So yeah, life's good. Nothing too exciting to tell you really. Just cracking on, working towards that automatic press and a bigger space, and hopefully by end of year, I'll be at least a step closer towards that goal. Congratulations on a full year's worth of episodes. That's crazy to think it started in lockdown and how far it's come. It's really is an awesome thing that you're doing, and I hope you guys are well. And yeah, cheers. I hope you've not got hangovers. I don't know if you guys were drinking last night, but hopefully you're feeling too rough today. But yeah, cheers. Hopefully we can get another year. Hopefully we can have many years of Shit Show actually. But yeah, alright lads. Take care. Cheers very much. Ta.